have to understand what is happening. And then for the others that are falling in the trap of the fear mongering, then the government arrive with what can the government do? We need help. We are going to die from COVID. And then the government, we have the injection. We have the injection. Take it.
Yeah.
Take it. You will be
Hey,
save grandma,
but but
save
but you
grandpa,
gotta
grandpa.
understand, bro. You like that's the weird part, right? You that's the game that's always been played. It's like, they have to act like the savior. And like really when
Yeah.
you think about it, like it's the illusion of control that they have. They don't have to act like they're in control anymore. They don't have to because we make it seem like we pass it on that they're in control. And really they not. They're not in control.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We
but hang
create the
on, hang on.
illusion that they're in control.
Yeah, but hang on. No, that's avoiding the shadow, because who's they? And if you find the truth, and I already did post a talk that I advised to look at in the general chat, and Alan Watt talk about AI. He goes into a lot of shit there. This is why you're controlled. Okay, you may be free in the mind, and that's nice, and that will give you some freedom. Believe you me, I've tried it everything to be free. You're controlled by the mob. The mob is the people that live in fear. They watch TV. They believe it. They have mind chatter. They don't change unless the government tells them to.
Yep.
They're easily offended. These are the traits. They're in fear most of the time. And the other trait of, all the alcoholism, all the drug taking in that, they're avoidant. They're
Yeah.
avoidant of what? They're avoidant of reality. See,
And
so these
You know what's
avoiding of
crazy?
pain.
are controlled
And
by
to
the mob.
avoid pain.
But
Yeah, at the same sorry, Cliff.
you know what's crazy, Cliff? I've been drinking this whole time we've been talking.
Yeah, but you're regulating it, obviously. Some people can't do that.
I've been having.
And by the way, I already said that to Cliff, but we had a very interesting conversation. The alcohol or whatever substance is not the actual problem. It's what the people do with it in which goal. If the
Exactly.
goal, yeah, because me, as I said, I'm a Frenchman. So if I drink wine, I drink usually in a festive way with my wife and enjoying a meal, and I am in a festive way. So when I drink wine, it's not to escape, it's not to numb pain or whatever.
Yeah.
So basically, it's not that sort of thing. But when I arrive in Canada, when I reach my adulthood, I realize a lot of people in Canada and Aborigines people, when they drink, is to self-destruct and forget their pain. And for me, it was different because I was raised by people that were drinking around me, but I never had a negative impact about it. They were able to modulate their drinking. My grandfather, I saw him playing, I don't know how you call it, it was in Marseille, a metal ball that you throw. In French, it's called pétanque.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
basically, and they were drinking pastis at 10 a.m. That is a 45 proof alcohol. They were drinking it with, of course, you have to mix a 1/3 of it plus 2/3 of water. But my grandfather was using orange juice to give it some more sour taste.
Yeah.
But
See, I drank straight. I got to drink
yeah,
straight. I'm not
yeah.
mixing my drink with anything. I'm drinking tequila. I'm drinking it straight. But
But I would be
it's
curious as this if you would drink it straight. But that's another subject
I
that
think it's
maybe we can
I think
cover.
it's what you said too. Also, it depends on the person because some people they drink to escape reality, and you got social drinkers. You got all different types of drinkers. I think it's
Yeah,
and it's not even the alcohol. You feel me? It's always the person. It's
The
always
person,
the
yeah,
individual.
exactly. Yeah, it
It's
is for
always
sure.
the
exactly.
individual.
But unfortunately for those types of people that we talk about that control you, because see that's the thing, the control me, and believe you me, I could talk for ages in detail to prove to you what I know and how it works on you, but I won't because it's too long. But you're controlled by the mob. That's how it works. It's called collectivism.
Yeah,
Collectivism.
yeah,
G. Edward Griffin, if you heard of him, G. Edward Griffin.
Nah, I haven't heard of him. But you
He,
said
he,
it
he's
before, like our thoughts, like, and I knew this a long time ago. Even our thoughts, our ideas, they never was ours. We borrow all of
true.
them,
That's
and we
true.
make them
That's true.
ourselves, and that's
That's
what we
true.
take.
And
It's
so,
like almost like the ideas, the thoughts. It's like all that shit is like Lego pieces, and you build your
Yeah.
own fucking you build your own shit from these Lego
yeah,
pieces. You build your own house, and you begin to
yep,
live in that house. And
Yeah.
once you create it, like you don't even know that the Lego pieces was already out there. They're
that's
not
true.
Exactly.
nothing new to the
I,
game. They're
I
not
think
nothing new to life.
that's true. I think you can. I think you, if you're a real thinker for yourself, you know, and a lot of people don't. It's scary. I agree. You got all the Lego pieces because you know, I can't control all these pieces. So, but if you research things and you go with your own path, you know, we talk.
Yeah,
That's the key. The more you find your own path, the more
yeah, it's
original you will
fixed.
be to get those Lego pieces and to make your own freedom and to make your own system. You know, like if you don't make your own system, someone will do it for you. And
Yeah,
that's not,
but even yo, like, okay, think about this though, right? That's the one thing that I thought too. Like, how many people didn't live this life?
what of individuality.
Like I'm talking about like people, like bodies that done been on this planet.
Yeah, but what you mean individually or collectively? What do you
I'm
mean?
talking about people, just bodies. Let's say bodies.
Okay.
We're
What about
talking
it?
about trillions, right?
Yeah. Well, billions. Trillions.
Nah, it's got to be trillions. It got to be over a trillion people that didn't live this life already.
Oh, right. I see.
More
So
than
you
that.
mean
I'm
through,
yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
mean ancestors and all that.
Yes,
Yeah.
every
Right.
that didn't lived like from beginning to now. Each
Right.
one
Okay.
that lived thought they were
Hmm.
doing the right thing. It didn't matter what it was. So all those
True.
thoughts, all those ideas are the same ideas that we carry. Just be like I said
Yeah.
before, just because you take a blue Lego piece instead of just Ty using a green Lego piece, it don't matter.
Mm,
That piece is still the same shape. You just
mm.
changed the
It's,
color of it.
mm,
So just
it's
because you
still,
made it yours, it didn't
mm,
mean that it was something new to reality. It
yeah,
wasn't
there's
nothing new
still,
to life.
Yeah. That's what I was
there's
talking about earlier about like even about the big story about the Bible and how we just see a lot of people say, hey, this is the book, this got all of creation. But it was people living in Africa and Antarctica and North America already. Like, what was they talking about? Even before
Exactly.
that book was written, they was
Exactly.
people like us.
Exactly. And then you got to understand, you being the trillion, 1 billion, 200 million, 500,000 and two going, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I'm like going, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I can act like I know,
mm, mm,
but I'm just
sure.
saying, it's so many people live this life and they all thought the
Mm,
same thing. And I think
mm,
that's one thing that I learned off psychedelics because you start to see all these so-called past lives that you didn't live. And then you start to figure out that, okay, if I lived those past lives, it means I lived every life already. So as you're living your life, I'm living your life with you at the same time. Even though I
mm,
can't see it and you can't see it because I'm
mm,
playing to be true life stories or you playing to be who you are, we're still
mm,
living the same life.
mm, mm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what is interesting is like I remember when I was about 16 years old, a kid said to me, "Well, I dream to become an astronaut." And I said, "Okay, what is outside of being in space uh, does motivate you to be having that focus?" And he goes like, "Basically, is to explore unknown worlds."
Yeah.
And then he looked at me and said, "What about you?" I said, "Me, I am already on the path that I'm interested into." And he says, "What is it?" "I am a psychonaut." And he goes like, "What is that?" "I explore my own consciousness so I can reach unexplored level of my existence so I can go above in the future days and years.
Yeah. And
A really
isn't now now now
psychonaut.
now that's what I'm saying. Isn't that an amazing thing? Because okay, your exploration of life is that his was just exploring space. But it's like
Yeah, yeah.
really, it's like what's the difference?
But the main difference is to have the goal to explore space in a system to become an astronaut. Obviously, he never became an astronaut. So therefore, I would have been curious to meet him later, like at my age or even a little bit before, and see what happened with him. Since obviously, I never seen his name in the space program of the Canadian space.
I'm telling you. Hey, I met a homeless lady today that said, "Hey, 40 years ago, if you'd have told me I was gonna be homeless, I'd have told you was a goddamn lie."
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's weird that somebody would say, "Hey, what you would like to become at a 12-year-old girl or guy?
Yeah, we
What you would
all
like to
played that
become? A
game.
homeless or
Yeah,
a crackhead?
homeless,
Or
like a
be a drug
crackhead. You
addict?"
like what? I'm gonna become a crackhead. I'm gonna be hooked on
Yeah,
fentanyl. You feel me? And it's like,
exactly.
nah, you lying. Nah, that ain't gonna happen. And then that end up happening. But I'm just saying, it's still a part of life. Like I always, I don't know, bro. You know, I look at life so differently now because I feel like life is going in every which way, every direction, right? But I feel like when we make our path, we have to make it better than everybody else's. You know why? Because it make us feel better than everybody else. Because I see you on that path of being homeless, and I go, I'll never do that. It make me feel better. Like, okay, if I go, oh, I'm gonna go vegan, it make me feel better than the ones that eat meat that I feel like killing animals. So it's like always this battle. It's the battle is not even with everybody else outside of you. It's always with yourself because
Oh yeah,
everything that you do, it makes you feel like you're better than everybody else. But you got to understand, everybody's playing that same fucking game.
yeah, exactly. And I always have that saying in my mind. Unfortunately, I don't remember where it's coming from. But he who seeks control over others demonstrate a complete lack of mastery of his own self.
Oh my God, that's a good one. I like that. I'm keeping that.
Go for it, my friend. Go for it. We're here to share. We're
I'm
here to
keeping
share.
that. I'm keeping that. We all drinking the same cup of coffee, one high, one mind. That's what I always say, right? Because, like, when I see, like, okay, I see the ants, right, and I see all the ants following the queen. I say, dang, it's no different than all of us following the president or something. You feel me? It's like we do the same thing that the animals, the insects, and everything that nature is doing. But we put ourselves outside of that because we go, okay, we got feelings, we got this, we got that. And it's like, nah, really, we're not no different than anything else that's going on. It's just our minds that create this difference in what's going on. We create that.
111 angel numbers,
Uh,
peace, love, and vibration.
exactly.
Resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. You will be
Resistance is
assimilated.
futile.
The imagination will not be
if,
televised with the fractalization.
if somebody would have told me a long time ago, hey, you know you're going to fight with your own ideas as you go through life, I probably would have had a better understanding now. If that's what I would have learned a long time ago, look, everything that you're creating is going to always be your own ideas, your own beliefs. You're going to run with that, and it's going to make you seem like you're right all the time. You feel me? Even when you're not right, it's going to make you seem like it because that's how you're going to program yourself to be. So even when you see
Yeah.
somebody that you think is doing wrong, you're going to make that a wrong thing, which we already learned from over time. Like we made a lot of things wrong as humans, like chocolate, one of Theo's favorite things. You know, it used to be evil, but now look at it. It's the most lovable thing on the planet. So I'm going like this constant battle with ourselves. I think that's the thing. That's the one thing That's the one thing that we can't get outside of, is stepping outside of ourself. All these other
You're right.
things are created in order to protect you from your goddamn self, not nobody
Yeah.
else, really.
Yep.
Yep.
When
Exactly.
when you say that we're drawing from the collective ancestry of millions or billions of years of soul growth that is down and down and down, and you get called an old soul or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then we claim it as our own with the ego, like you say. That's a form of inflation. That's what Edinger's the one of the best authorities on Jung's work, and he's saying specifically that when we claim things of our talents for ourselves, that's when you'll get hit by the trickster to bring you down, to humble you.
Yes.
So you're on the right track. That is absolutely right. That's what they've found.
And that that's what I've learned over time. I think that's why I didn't humble myself. I can't point out and tell anybody that they're wrong about anything. You feel me? Like it's like crazy, bro. It's crazy because I don't look at anybody out there as being any different than what I am. And you be out, we see people sleeping on the sidewalks. Everybody does. We all do. And
I'm gonna say true. I'm gonna say true that people just people get to do what benefits them for their survival. So
yeah.
then in my thing, I do what benefits me to so-called just live on throughout the day.
Yeah. You go, well, I went and got a
Like, I need my
job, so I
bluegrass
didn't.
Like, I might pick up a good garlic off the ground and eat it in front of my coworkers and everything out on the street. But it's just a guitar lick. I'm like, I found it in the gutter. I thought that's what the kids said.
Yeah, it'd be wild, bro. It's I don't know. I guess I just learned not to fight with myself no more because everything that I seen myself doing in life to make it was like in order to make myself feel like I was doing better or I was smarter or I was like different than everybody else. And it was like, bro, you really not. You feel me? Because this is something that we're creating in our own minds. Like I like when Nabi come in and he say everybody's going down the slide. At the bottom of the slide don't give a fuck what you did while you were sliding down. When you get to the bottom, you're going to be like, well, I held my hands up. Did you see the way I crossed my legs? The bottom of the slide is not going to give a fuck. It's not going to care. You're going to make up all these things as you going down it in order to, put your perspective outside of everybody else's perspective, but life is just one perspective. Like, life is looking at itself from every which way. Not just your angle, my angle, his angle, her angle, everybody's angle. Life is looking at it from that way, from every which way, as an ant, as a charger, as a phone, as AI. Life is looking at itself from every which way.
Because a lot of times we think it's either this or that, but it's not this, not that. So it means it could be either one. So we look to prove something through the positive aspect of it. But you can prove anything to be true if you try hard enough.
Exactly.
But then if you prove what's not true, nothing's true. So that means you are nothing. But it's like any path you want to choose, if you carve it out as a technique in that ancestral way of the Tao, a way that's been done many times, has that resonance to it. And you have the tools around or the resources to learn and carve it out, it becomes good. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
Seemingly paradoxical nature.
And that's why we have people that, follow space. We have people that follow every type of animal. This person, he just follows spiders. He follows whales. He follows this. Because life is this is what it does. And you go, well, it's all about whales. And it's like, okay, yeah, to you.
No, bro, it's dolphins all day.
Dolphins.
Be like, look, whales and dolphins, they talk. They're cool together.
I don't know, bro. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. And like, I ain't gonna lie, like sometimes I kind of hate that I even look at it this way. I don't like it. I want it to just be that way over there. So I can be like, yeah, this is what it's like. But it's like,
well, there
I
can
would
be
be
something
lying.
to discover for everyone to be right together. Be like, there is this one way that's
better than every other
what
way.
And it has to do with timeline.
But what about
Because it's like we're all one person in one timeline. So there is one way, but then
Right.
It's so fractally. It's splitting off into every direction.
Ain't no
What was
telling.
Becoming one.
No,
on their own.
what's his name?
That's
He was about, yeah, go ahead. You was about to say something.
That's exactly the formula I'm using to find quote unquote truth. Is what can we agree on as empirical evidence for reality? You know what I mean? Hey,
I think that's
and
what
then
they call truth in this like timeline. It's like whatever has the most statistics towards it. Whatever is true for the most people for the most of the time. It's like a rule of thumb. It's not necessarily saying it's absolute, but it's like the
true.
probabilities of it.
Nah, that, for real, because everybody gonna be like, yeah, you know, because chicken is better than steak. It's,
But then it's like the
I would
Buddhist thing.
say
Like
I
the
would
Buddhist,
disagree. I would
a
disagree.
Buddhist is like a straightforward scientist.
I will disagree. Chicken is a weak animal. Steak, beef is a strong one.
That's what I'm saying. See?
Sometimes
See?
it's like sometimes with truth, it's like the more people you can reach, the less deeply you reach them. So it's like with music. If I try to reach everyone with one truth or with one song, it's like all the artists that you see that are popular on the billboards and stuff, their music sucks because they're reaching every. All right, this is getting controversial. I'm like, some of the people that we like the most, it's like a niche. Like only a certain type of people like them, but they're playing their songs over and over, so they're on the top Spotify and stuff because it's like might be a small group of people that like them, but they really like them. Then if you have pop, it might be a lot of people, and then if it's truth, a small group gets it, but they really get it and apply it. Where if it reaches everybody, it's not that practical.
Yeah, but if they took your song and played it as much as they played that song, it would get the same fucking shit.
Hello.
I'm just saying, if they took
But I'm thinking like
that one
if it's
time
like,
you played the guitar and they played it everywhere. I'm talking about on Kentucky Fried Chicken commercials, on, on
yeah,
cartoons.
that's the other part of it. Like, but that I think it's still gonna have to be good because like. But I don't know, true, because we've talked about this before. Because like all music is music. If you play it enough times, you're gonna start interfacing with it and calling it good.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a technique of control. That's a technique of control in the
on
masses.
point,
An
Theo.
example, an example
Because
being
we're talking
that,
about the massive control of Mother Music, and she's a serpent. She's a living thing. She lays eggs. We call them bluegrass or songs. And then like on the other hand, we have Big Brother. And he's a rhinoceros, and he shits out music, and he puts
you
music
guys
where he
must
wants
know.
it.
You guys
And if he
must
plays
know.
it enough, it's a spell. But then Mother Music, her bluegrass is true. If it's actually good, it lasts the test of time for the people.
Are you guys aware that musicians used to need a license?
What?
They actually musicians used to have a license to play to the audience in the Middle Ages. So what it means is that, and this is really unfortunate, but it means that all of your media, all of your music is governed. You just didn't know it.
Yeah, it's
And
always
so
been
what they do
governed.
is they bring out
I'm
the
a
new
licensed
types
loot
of
plucker.
music. There's certain sorts of people that are half talented and created into stars, quote unquote, and they're
Because
paid
back
with a
then
thing
it was
called
a
money.
fun line.
I was
They're
watching.
paid with a thing called money.
You know what? I was watching something on Bruno Mars, bro. I didn't even know Bruno Mars was in the position he was in. I said he was making some damn good music, and like I heard he was like a alcoholic, and they got him stuck in Vegas, and he can't pay off his debts. And I'm like going, what the hell? How come every musician that we see this happens to? How come it seemed like they lived their whole life rich, and then when they die, they be like, you know, he was broke.
Because they wake up in Vegas with Mike Tyson's Tiger and they'd be broke. And then they have to sell every day. They make music just to pay off their debt because they fell into that Suge Knight. No. But yeah, that 360 deal.
You
True,
that
that's what it is.
360
They
deal.
sign a 360 deal and then they turn around, whoop, they cut their tie with the ether once they do a 360.
Elvis, same thing happened with Elvis.
Yep.
Michael Jackson was in it young because they conditioned him, his pops. And Elvis was gyrating his way right off the stage.
Man.
All of that remind me of a saying of Mike Tyson. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
I thought you said you love me. Wait, that's a different one.
I don't know. It's crazy, bro. Because yeah, I think the thing now is the only thing we can sell each other is how to save ourselves from ourselves, and then create.
But true, that's why, because the authority thing in this realm in reality, the game is to be sold, not told. Otherwise, people will take it for granted. And you don't take it for granted. It could be quartz or a different stone.
And that's why I call the politicians poly-tricksters, because they tricked you into selling a dream that is not yours at the beginning, but try to convince you that it is your own dream.
I was thinking about that the other day, right? To myself. I never could understand. Like, all right, when the politicians come into play, like presidents and all these different things, and everybody start donating all this money to them for their campaign, right? For their campaign, like you donate all this money to them for their campaign in order for them to sell themselves to the world.
Campaign is a military word too.
What? Yeah. What you mean?
Yeah.
If you go on a campaign, it's a military term.
It means a
it's like you're going on an espionage. You remember Tom Clancy Rainbow? You go on a campaign mode. That sounds.
That is crazy.
But the world is controlled by money.
Yeah.
A campaign would also be known as a mission, and we know what a mission is. A mission is a religious infiltration, just like a campaign.
It is. Yeah, mission is another military. See, look, Freemasonry is running the military. All of their shit, all their little lapels and whistles.
That'll be a good shirt. Freemason ain't free. I'm gonna make that shirt.
It's free for them. They're free. Hey, Albert Pike studied Albert Pike's quotes on that.
Albert Pike.
Freemason.
He was a good one. I used to listen to a lot of different people. I don't listen to shit no more. I just listen to y'all crazy asses.
Yeah, you guys might be AI, but I still listen.
I just listen to everybody that's here because I said everybody that's here know everything that everybody didn't already said. So,
well, there's another saying that maybe you will find it interesting. Is it takes about 2 years for a human being to learn how to speak, but a lifetime how to listen.
Yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it think. I'm just saying.
Yep.
But I feel like, because everybody here didn't gather so much information from so many places. It's like everything that we be saying, it'd be so fascinating. I don't have to look at anything else. I don't even look at, I used to watch.
You know what, Cliff, bro? Yo, Cliff's profile picture looks like that A word, the alien, my A word from Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's who it is. I was wondering who that was. With the 3D glasses on with them in the Matrix. Okay.
In the Matrix. In the
Matrix.
From the frack.
Notice that what I did was in Photoshop, I used a blend thing, or it's like a clone tool, and I got an Iron Maiden picture of Eddie. You've heard of him, eh? The monster in Iron Maiden. Yeah. And I used his eyes and put them in my sunglasses. And if you look carefully, they're blue and red. There's the blue and red again.
Yeah, you're going all esoteric with the green in the back. Just like the blue and the red got the green in the middle.
Yeah, we can talk about facts and post real quotes from real people. Will blow you away, guys. Because the Matrix is incredibly huge. Most people don't.
It is.
And you won't control. The other thing is, if you don't, to be free, you won't be free until you know how you're fully controlled. Right? It always goes back to the individual, right? But if you don't know the world's controlled by money and that even all your musicians and that are controlled too, then you haven't figured that. Because they're all controlled.
It's like kind of scary, bro, when you even break free. Like when you break free, it's kind of scary because it's like,
You're vulnerable. Yeah, you're vulnerable. You left the herd.
No, I'm not going to say you're vulnerable. It just feels like bliss. You feel
you're going,
like it's
going into the unknown. you're going into the unknown. So when you're free, quote unquote, you're going into the unknown. And by definition, the unknown is triggering fear. That's the natural response to human beings facing a complete unknown realm of existence, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's crazy because once you really break free, there is no fear. It's no fear of nothing.
Yeah, but if you
Oh,
do that, the demons will come, and that's why I got onto this path I'm on now. And you will be forced to be in fear, and you'll have to rethink.
Okay,
Because,
now see,
right?
now that's a good one that you said, right? Now,
Mhm.
let's say I don't believe in demons.
Okay, well, that's all right.
Okay, like I
You
know
believe
what
in
the
evil?
in a sense,
Well,
in a
you either believe in
sense,
it or you don't.
in a
Do you believe
sense.
evil
I
is
know it's
okay?
certain things people do that I don't like, but I don't look at it as
Well,
being evil
yeah. Well,
because
I
if
do believe in evil, and I can prove evil exists.
because you like if I okay, so if let's say a bird, right, had laid 3 eggs
Mm-hmm.
and it was too many to feed, and when the chicks was born, it kicked one of the chicks out the nest. Is that evil?
Survival
it's
of
called
the
nature. It's called the
selection
selection
of the.
of nature.
Okay, let's say
I
a
wouldn't say it's
lion.
evil. No, not really. I wouldn't say it's evil.
Okay,
No.
now okay, let's say a lion, right, was on the prowl
Yes.
and it ran
Mm-hmm.
down to a herd of deer and it grabbed the baby deer and ate the baby deer out of all the other deer. Is that evil?
There'd
That's
be a
called
part of
that's called
there'd
nature.
be a there'd
Okay,
be a
I'm gonna
It's
say
part
called
it
of it.
again.
Yeah,
So
but
every go
hang on.
ahead.
There'd be a part of evil in that. Yes, and I can tell you why if
Why?
you want.
I want to hear
Okay,
it.
because the basis of evil is chaos in this world. That's why. And therefore, because there's chaos in it, there's a little bit of evil, even though
Okay,
it's natural.
so
Okay. So if you
if
talk
it's
about evil, if you want to talk about evil clearly in the sense of what it means, then you need to talk about chaos. If you want to talk about good, you need to talk about order. That's how it works. And we can go in
If
so
either
you
way.
want to talk about
so in
harmony, you
life
got to talk about
in
dissonance.
in
Bluegrass.
life in life anything that lives feeds off of something else, right?
yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
Right.
That's right.
Now we're not just going to talk about we're even talking now. I'm just not saying because when I say that, a lot of people look at it and think I'm just talking about as far as just eating, like
No,
eating
no, no.
food or
I
something
get
like
it.
that.
Yeah,
No, I'm talking
spiritually,
about mentally. I'm talking about mentally the same thing with
feeding on
ideas.
others.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ideas
feeding
feed
on
off of
others.
ideas.
Mhm.
So it's all a natural thing that's happening. Now we can say that it's wrong, but if it's wrong, why is it happening?
Yes. And I agree with that. There's always the play of opposites, right? Dark and light,
Yeah.
evil and good, right? So I'm not denying that evil does or doesn't. Or actually, no, I am saying that evil exists based on when you open your eyes in the morning, you get a play of opposites again. So therefore, what do you? If you don't believe evil exists, you don't believe good exists. See? So they're one and the same. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
that's
Or
what I'm saying.
good and bad. Yeah, exactly.
Because
So
evil
in
is
the
only
conscious
going.
world, yeah, so in the conscious world, evil exists based on what? Based on chaos, based on stealth, based on confusion, based on. See, evil has to stay hidden. This is where it gets complicated. Evil has to stay hidden. Does a lion stay hidden before it kills the gazelle? Probably. It goes stealth. There's an
It,
element of evil in
yeah,
it, even though it's
but
natural. See?
but
Right.
it's all just natural. We call it evil.
Because
We
it's
put
Correct.
the
also
evil
like
name
Yeah,
on it.
and I'm not denying that it isn't natural, but it's still evil.
because a
Like
Right?
lot of
like
stuff we
we
look
we
at in
named it.
hindsight,
There
We
never been
2020
named
good
it.
people
vision
and people.
in
We named
There
it
hindsight.
never
as
been.
being evil, and the one thing, like once we named it as being evil, that's when we begin to create the demons, and we don't understand that we create the demons. The demons are something that we create.
Just an interesting observation. If you reverse all the letters of evil, it's live.
Yes,
Yeah, right. That's
exactly,
true.
exactly.
So
So
really, the other play of good and evil is good is life, evil is death. right? Because we'd prefer to live, otherwise why do anything instinctively?
And
But-
then
but-
there's like
but-
the wisdom of the opposites. You can't tell one from the other. In some
You
sense,
can't.
death is good because the best
Oh,
thing
is it
about a
good?
song
Maybe.
is that it ends. Have you ever heard a song that never ends? You will go crazy the longer it goes.
Problems. Yeah, exactly. Look, in the chat, the Torah said it's the same reason no one can solve all world problems. It's the ability to have free will, sin matrix, knowledge of good and evil, and that's the thing, right? Because a lot of things, a lot of things that we make evil is something that's happening that we just don't like. Like we don't
It's
like
how
it
they
to
call
happen.
like Shiva the destroyer. Like Shiva is the life bringer. The destroyer is like Alan Watts says there's like a field full of lettuce. And if the rabbits don't come, if the rabbits don't use their will to be hungry, to want to stay alive, and the lettuce, if I was a lettuce head, I'd be like, what's up, True? My other lettuce head? Oh shit, chilling. Oh fuck. Cliff just got eaten by a rabbit. I don't want this is evil. But then the
Yes,
rabbits
it's
are like,
evil.
and then in another world, me and True are like, we're gonna kill all the rabbits. So me and
Yeah.
True, as lettuce heads, we find a way to poison the rabbits with our pesticides naturally occurring. Then there's no more rabbits. We celebrate. Let's celebrate and procreate with all the other
Yeah.
female lettuce. And
And then
now we choke each other out because the lettuce grows too close together. We fight for nutrients. It's like, oh shit, now that's evil.
Yeah,
but what
everything was created to balance. Everything that's happening right now is created for the perfect balance. Even so, when we the things that we look at as being evil has to happen in order to create this balance. So it don't be
Correct.
so many humans. So it don't be
Yes.
so many rabbits. So it don't be
Correct.
so many heads of lettuce. So the ants
Agreed.
don't take over. So this don't take over. So
Agreed.
this don't. It's like it's the
Because if one
perfect
thing
balance.
becomes everything. It's kind of like that movie Akira, when it's like
And-
he figures out the Akira God particle, but his mind is not stable enough to enter the hyperdimensional realm because his desires are out of control for false desires, things that don't come to fruition to end up being healthy and bringing joy. But he has to go through that karma now in a fully activated God state. In
Yeah.
Akira, his body starts growing into a big blob, bigger and bigger, and
When that rabbit go
Hey,
grab
fucking
that,
That's right.
hey Theo, when that rabbit go grab that head of lettuce though, it take it back and it feeds his whole family, and it looks for another head of
Yeah.
lettuce in order to feed
'cause
his
Peter
family.
and Peter and Poppytail and Cottontail, they all enjoy it.
And like it's a fucked up thing to say, but that's the way it was created. That's the way it is. Everything feeds off of something else.
And
So
that's just from this perspective. of
that's
this
why
organic
now
life
I
form that we
don't
are.
like, okay, like I understand like you can believe in demons. I just don't believe in demons no more. I feel like demons, if I'm gonna believe in a
Yeah.
demon, or it's gonna be a person, because that's the
Because
only
it's
thing
that
gonna
residue
harm me.
that's left
That's
over.
what I'm-
It's like
that's really what I'm-
a traumatic experience. Hurt people will hurt people. That energy will spill out. So if I make them into a demon and say that's not myself, they're separate from me. Us versus them. It's like it's kind of pointless because they're just
Yeah.
another spirit looking for liberation.
And maybe and like I said, I told you I lost it a long time ago, y'all. You feel me? I lost the demon, I lost the devil, I lost all that shit a long time ago. I seen
And then the
over
repressed
time
shall
from
return.
from
Even the
from
repressed shall return. If you repress the shadow, it will return. So you can pretend all you want to hide the demon, but it will come eventually because you're repressing it. That's my point.
no,
I'm not denying.
I'm not repressing
Then
it.
okay.
We're not
I'm
really
not
saying
repressing
He's
it.
still saying like you can let it exist and you can be like, honestly, in my experience, at the time where the demon, so to speak, dies, is when I start seeing angels and demons as separate. I call a dog and a cat, but at the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah,
I don't have
agreed.
to say it because it's gonna be what it's gonna
It's
be.
gonna be
I can look at both.
regardless.
I can
Yeah,
see
right.
something beautiful and I can
Regardless.
see something really ugly or dissonant, and I won't call it a demon because it is just a different. It just looks different.
Yeah,
To me,
it's
I don't
gonna.
know what it
it's
is.
fine.
You said
gonna
to
do
you
its
it's
thing.
what? You said to you it's
You know
what?
what I mean? Like, I mean, how can you as a living
Say that
being
again.
moves around in the world, not come into opposites, right? It's implied that when you get up in the morning and mingle, especially with society, that you're going to play
You were
with the
talking about a suit. I think it was you who said we're like not only a soup, but we're a harmonic structure on the inside. And it's like within yoga, we're working to balance the nadi system of energy points. And it's like throughout the left and the right, the Ida and Pingala, or sun and moon. When you balance those, you start to activate the third, the Shushumna.
Yeah,
It's like
it
the
makes
third
sense.
eye.
When you begin to
middle.
really balance
yeah.
it out, you just see everything is just this one thing.
Right.
But
Like,
it's
you
like
can
in
turn
order to
it, you
balance
can
it
make
out,
it
it's paradox,
evil.
because at first you try to combine it, it's not going to work. To balance it out, paradoxically, to bring the third thing, you separate the two to connect them. So it's like that weird paradox of
Like
ice and fire.
we seen every religion already play that game. All right,
Yes.
I see every religion play the game of good and evil, and say, okay, that religion is evil. This is the good one. I see everybody play that game, and
Yeah,
I'm
they're
going,
like, our gods, we have the gods called Devas, and no, your Devas are devils
it's
now.
like, I don't know why, but when you dive in on psychedelics, you see it all at one time, and it like kind of shows you, like it's
But
like
would
it's
you wanna
showing
We got
be-
the
you.
warlords, bro.
But would you
Anyone who
wanna
says
be
we're
on
the
psychedelics?
king.
Like, would you?
You said
Like,
what?
you can't stay on psychedelics all the time. You got to come down and then deal with the world. So when you
But
deal
that's the
back with
thing
the
is
world,
like, if
Wait,
you
let him
realize
finish,
something on
Theo.
psychedelic,
He didn't even finish.
oh yeah, my fault.
He didn't finish.
I'm getting excited.
Me too.
so I'm not. Hey, but just for the record, I'm
Psychedelic.
not disagreeing. So just for the record, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, because both of what you're saying is right. I'm limiting what I'm saying, not going off on a tangent to try and nail down what evil is. So I'm not saying that by going in between the two, they will all disappear. But what I'm saying is, when you get in the conscious realm of beta mindset, beta like we are now, unless you're tripping out or whatever, right? But so there's the two worlds. You got the center world with no good and evil, right? So I'm not denying that. But as soon as you get into beta state conscious ego mind, which most of us are now, you're gonna have good and evil. Or you're gonna have
Yeah,
opposites.
I'm gonna say
Right?
it
That's my
again.
point. That's my
That's
point.
the thing. That's how I'm gonna say it again. Now, who's creating that? You are. So once I make these
Who's you?
things good and evil, that's what I'm going to see. I don't now. I can go, okay,
'Cause
that happens right there because of this, and this. I don't have to make it evil for it to be what it is. Because
yeah,
once I
because for
start,
me, it's like it's self-organizing. It's
yeah,
like if I call it that, it's because I'm discovering something that's already in my mind. But if it's already there, I don't have to say it because I'm separate from the person who's even reflecting on it, let alone the ideas and thoughts, like the character that I'm wearing, like clothes, or whatever this being that's accumulated.
I think
yes,
by stepping back from it, like or how I'd say it, by stepping back from it, you can see it in a different light. It to me as a guide. So in other words, if a so-called demon comes, the dark side of the person, right? In other words, or the repressed returning, I'm going to use it as a guide. That's all. I'm not going to go, oh my
Yeah,
god.
like it can be like a
Exactly.
natural intuition, but I think we
Exactly.
can say it's a demon, but that's not demonic, or it's
dang,
it's like that allegory, like you said, an allegorical or archetype. It's not actually a demon. We're just calling it that because that's a metaphor for something.
It is.
That's like
it's something that
the reason-
like
evil
it's
is not really
wow,
evil.
right?
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's
The
wild
reason we
because
call it-
like the demon, like you, like will demonize things that, but people will be calling you a demon because
they
of
might.
they'll be saying what you're doing is like demon acts.
Because they say be a good guy or live long
But-
enough to become the villain. And
Yeah,
I think
but
part of becoming
Tim
a truly
said-
good person is you got to let people think you're the devil and not care.
Look,
Tim-
the
Just be
reason,
yourself.
Hey,
the
Tim said
reason
that
we-
he was in TikTok. He said because we live on YouTube, y'all, right now. So because it's working now.
wow.
So yeah, we live on YouTube. If y'all didn't know, but Tim said I was in the TikTok live and they were talking about Thoth, and he said I told them I saw him on shrooms and they laughed at it. Yeah, they
you could
would.
almost, you could almost. This is where it gets
Trust me,
freaky.
they will.
You could almost call demonic, like this whole thing of demonic. If you look at the history of it, it goes back to humans. So we can call animals
Yes.
demons, but in this context of when I say demons coming, it's to do with the human race only. And so this is where it gets interesting. is that if someone gets too inflated, they become what's called demonic. If they get depressed, they can become demonic, but they'll be more suicidal demonic. They'll be demonic against themselves and suicide.
No, I
See?
like.
So,
I think
I understand
Rick, yeah.
100% what you're saying, you know, because like I said, like that's the name that we put on it. We put
Right.
names
That's
on the actions,
Correct.
and like once I like myself, I'm not saying everybody should do this because it's not for everybody. Once I stepped outside of the names or whatever I put on things, I was able to see that everything was just happening. And
Nice.
I can call it whatever I want to call it, but that's not going to stop it from happening. I can go out and yell to the world and let the whole world know and everybody can hear me. It's still not going to stop it from happening
Sure.
because
But I can
whatever
get
it's
away from-
doing,
Yep. But
whatever-
I can get away from, like, if the evil's coming, if you step back from and go, hey, whatever, are you going to get out of the way of the evil if it's coming towards you?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
but that's
So
the
the
thing,
advantage-
right?
The advantage being that if I can identify evil at its outset of its subtle penetration into my life, I can take action sooner, and therefore I can keep a more just
But
peace order in my life.
That's like
That's
saying,
my-
like, you know, like that's a person not knowing wrong from right. Like
Yeah.
like us here, we know wrong from right. So I don't have to play that game that everybody's playing to try to release all these demons. I don't have to play that game no more. I know wrong from right. I know that I don't want to do this because if I do this, it will harm this person. I know not to do that because it will harm
that's why
that person.
know if they don't have that intention of doing wrong, if they don't know wrong from right, you can't really take it personal. Like one of the Buddhist 4 agreements, never take anything personal.
Nah, but a lot of
So I
people
think
when they
looking
do
at
wrong,
evil-
they know they doing wrong. They
Yeah, but
want
hang
to
on,
do
no,
it.
but
no,
that's
no,
the weird
hey,
thing. We don't
hey,
know that
hey,
we know sometimes.
Yeah,
It's
but,
not
hey, here's-
integrated into the earth. It's like that
Hey, look, no,
cognitive
no.
dissonance.
Listen to this, guys. This is the point of where you're talking now. Is this is how the narc works, right? Now, when someone goes to the evil side, and all of us can do it, it's called compulsivity. They're compulsive. They compulsively act out. Now, when
Yeah.
someone's in compulsive reaction or activity, their conscious mind shuts down. Remember we talked about fear? See, so
Yeah.
it's kind of connected there. So now the
Yeah.
question is simply this: do they know that they were acting out when they come down from their demonic inflation? Because that's the technical term for it.
Right. How
Because
long
when
does
they're
it take?
acting out,
Like,
they're
does
not
it take 5
It's
years
kinda-
or
Yeah,
10
it's
minutes?
kind.
Yeah,
I think I was like. I think what made me really understand it is when I seen Thoth. Not Thoth, but when I seen Anubis, and Anubis showed me, bro. Whether you can believe it or not, he showed me the good and evil thing. And it was like, okay, a lot of evil things was put in place in order to play a part for reality to stay doing what it's doing. Like we had kings that ran, what was the one king of Egypt that was running and he was fucking up and they killed him. Like his own people had to take him out. And like we would look at it like, to kill your own king, that's like an evil thing. But it was something that
Are you sure? Are you sure you're not referring to the French Revolution when we chopped the
that too.
heads
That
and
too.
Marie
That
Antoinette?
too. Everybody eat cake.
Well, they say repeat histories itself.
So it's
Yep.
kind of weird, you feel me? Because I don't know, bro. I just maybe it's just me. I just don't look at it like that no more because I feel like everything is happening. It's happening. Like it can't be stopped. It's not going to be stopped. No matter, like we can
And
look at it
sometimes
any way
even
we
like
want to.
But can I get out of the way? Yeah, but back to
Like
what I was
just
saying.
if you accept that it never stops, sometimes that helps it stop. Weirdly.
Now you're
True, but
right.
can I get out of the way?
Okay,
You know what I
let me give you an example, right? It was this one guy, right? Here in San Diego. He went out, he said, "Man, I'm about to off myself." He went out, threw himself off a roof, right? Off a roof. Now, it was a lady that said, "I'm going to go out, I'm going to have brunch with my mom." When he threw himself off the roof, he fell on her, and he took both their lives, right? She couldn't get out the way. There was no way that she would have been able to see that coming.
Right. Fair enough. Yep.
So we can, like, the minor things when people come our way or in our face or saying things that we can like detour those, but there's a lot of things like it can't, like when people go up in them planes, they don't know that the plane is gonna go down.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
that's the
have
thing
you
is,
seen-
go ahead, Cliff.
have you seen the movie? A lot of us have Final Destination.
Yes.
Right now, that's a classic example of what you're talking about, where the people avoid death and then death comes to seek them, right?
Yeah.
Through chaos. Through what? Through chaos. And so that's based on reality. There's a reality to that movie,
Yeah.
believe it or not. Yeah.
No, it is. It is, because I seen one where a guy was he went to go eat lunch with his family, and they robbed the bank across the street where he was eating at, and they got into a shootout, and one of the bullets hit him. He didn't go out knowing that was gonna happen.
Yep. So there seems to be, and I
What's
had
up,
this
UL?
happen with a mate of mine. There seems to be a
Can't give it a
connection
name, so-
between. There seems to be a connection between
Yoel.
when you
Oh.
get inflated, right? When you get inflated, and that's a whole topic in itself. When you get inflated, the forces outside you will conspire, you could say, to create a problem for you to humble you. That's the bottom line.
Okay, you know what UL just said? He said, look, he said LOL. He said they give it a name so they can feed it, because they want it to grow into the pattern of likes or dislikes. Chaos is the prime of creation, not just what people fear as a destruction.
Evil and good, the way we look at it is what they call karma. In compulsive nature, in yoga, like to get extra space to
Karma is
acquire
just,
that space is so you're
Even
not
karma.
choked out by the compulsive thoughts.
karma
You
is
have
just
space to
action and
respond.
Karma is just action and reaction.
Yeah. But karma means memory, but it also means action. So it's like you're acting out a memory in the form of an action, emotionally, physically, mentally.
And I
And
think
basically, in the end,
Yeah, go ahead.
just to add something. You were talking about action, reaction. There's an element that is essential missing in that equation that may make a difference. Action, well, reaction is a dynamic, but if you add reflection, action, and then reaction, or a reaction and action, but reflection is a key point in that equation because you take a step back and you're able to assess what is happening around you. And if something is coming at you, you reflect on it and then adjust your reaction to it.
Yeah.
Because action reaction is a automatic process.
Yeah.
You slap me on the face, I'm gonna slap you in the face.
No,
and then it's like going in that dynamic. You insult me, I will insult you. But if you take a reflection, and then, like, as an example, if someone insults you, you say, why are you saying that? Where is it coming from? Based on what? And then you go with the Socratic method, asking question to dismantle the inner dynamic of the person that tried to get to you. Then you push through your questioning to push them to their own observation of themselves, which usually will be painful for them because they will be going into insults or denial and
look,
behavior.
I think what I'll be trying to show everybody, like when you say action and reaction, you got to look at the whole picture, not just that right there. But even if you had a cup of water and you dropped it, right, and it hit the ground, what would happen? The action is dropping. If you had a glass of water in your hand, a full glass of water, and you drop that glass, what would happen?
I would try to catch it.
No, but I'm just saying, when that glass hits the ground, it's gonna. So I'm saying every action. If I grab this lighter, the action is me grabbing this lighter. I know what my reaction is gonna do is I'm gonna light something with it. I'm saying every action. Every action.
We don't know all the
He said reflection, not reaction.
I know, but I'm saying, like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not putting it in like one perspective. I'm putting it in a full perspective, meaning every action. If I talk into this microphone, it's gonna relay my voice out there. If I say words, they're gonna complete sentences. Every action is a
In
reaction.
Buddhism,
It's
in
something's gonna
Buddhism,
happen. It's gonna be a
in
reaction to
Buddhism,
it.
in Buddhism, it's called cause and effect.
Basically, yeah, that's what I'm basically saying. It's gonna be a cause and effect, and that's just what it is. Like, and I don't know,
That's
bro.
the ripple theory.
It's the ripple effect, and
Because it's like, just as you can see one action happening on a subtle level, there's also vibrations being sent by that glass of water that will affect a salamander on the other side of. So spooky action at a distance, quantum action, and also the format that we're putting memories in this complex of reality. It's like in the quantum realm, all moments are happening simultaneously, like something
If you want,
altogether different.
and
if you want to go into the notion of the universe, the three key element that is part of us in the universe is energy, frequency, and vibration.
yeah,
Once you understand the notion of energy, frequencies, and vibration, then you're starting to get into the part where you are understanding the foundation of your biological and spiritual level.
yeah, and yeah, that you know what's crazy, bro? Because if we was like the actions that's going on within the world and everything, it's like, we trying to explain this, almost trying to explain everything that's going on within your body, like what the blood vessels is doing, what your heart is doing, what your lungs is doing, what your brain is doing, how your mind is thinking this, how your ears is hearing, how your fingers move, like everything, the one thing that it takes to make your fingers even do what it do, what it takes in order to make you even put out a sound. Like, it's trying to explain that in a sense, if you get what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
almost
that's why I get, and I will complete what
is the fuel in your choice.
for
Oh,
most
dang.
people. For most people, their body is way more intelligent than they are. If you
Yeah.
see what I mean.
Yeah. I think so too. I think that's why I think the body holds everything. But UL said
Like,
your belief is the fuel and your choice is the spark. The actions are all flows of patterns, and that's the one thing that I be saying. Everything has a pattern to it. Like, even like what we are saying and the things that we are saying, it's a pattern behind all of it. Like, even if you can't see it at the time, it's like we all fall into that pattern, like the same pattern that the flower grows. Like, our minds, our thoughts, everything flows in this same pattern. And
Well, that's the thing is at each time you think, okay, now I see that pattern, I'm gonna break it. You're creating a new one, and you're not aware of it at that moment, unfortunately.
yeah, you think you creating a new
Habit
one,
that's a good habit or a
you,
bad habit.
but
Habits
it's
ain't
the
good.
same
Or they say,
pattern.
I think
You just colored
they
it
say the
in.
chains of or the string of habits is too flimsy to notice up until it's like,
Like, you
I
can
forget what the
always.
quote is.
I think
It's
we
hard to
all.
break. By the time you notice it, it's already hard to break. But it's
got
actually easy,
no.
effortless.
What's weird is like when you start to even learn new things and new patterns of ways of thinking. It's like it's not nothing new. You just learn. You just seen it just now. It's not new.
That's
It's
why they
just
call it. That's why they call it research.
oh damn
Yeah, or
exactly that now yeah
realization.
yeah oh my god
It's a good.
research.
It's all been done. It's all been done before, and
It's
they keep it
That's
in
why you can
archive.
recognize
They
it.
give you public libraries, and they've got their archives, what they call archives, for the archetypes and the ark and the Noah's Ark. Noah. Why they call him Noah? It's all the words have multiple meanings, and
yeah
nothing's by chance. Hey, nothing's by chance. Nothing's by chance.
nothing
Well, the
nothing
president, look at the note. There's Donald Trump, and he's trumping the elite, supposedly.
uh,
Putin. Putin, right? He's the demon Putin.
Oh, by the
it
way, in
goes on and
Quebec,
on.
by the way, poutine is a good fries meat cheese recipe. Because that's funny in Quebec, poutine They go like, what? Oh, the fries with the brown sauce and the Kirby cheese.
What
No, we're
the
talking about
fuck?
Putin, the leader of Russia.
Oh
That's one of the.
wow.
Oh yeah, that's one of the
got
rare
fucking
things.
Vladimir
And
Putin
by the way,
over here.
yeah, and I have another funny one. I have another funny one. The
He
last year I
said,
was living in Quebec. I was having a cafe with some friends, and then we heard a couple of ladies the next table, and they were talking about the North Korean regime. And she said in French, I will try to translate properly because I was like laughing my ass off. So I will do my best. Give me time, guys. So she said, that woman at that time, I really don't understand the political system in Korea because they have Kim Jong the second, and now they have Kim Jong one.
yeah.
And I started to laugh my ass off because clearly she did not understand the notion of Kim Jong Il and Kim Jong Un. And then I
Yeah.
said to her, it's because, in Asia, they are under us on the planet. So they go reverse. So they go from, let's say, Kim Jong the 8th to Kim Jong 0. So they're
Yeah.
going towards 0. And my
Backwards,
friends,
yeah.
when I said that, they spit their coffee like, oh my God. We're like, you're really a bad guy.
Yeah, that's hella funny. I didn't even think of that. They go backwards, but UL in the chat said the perception of the patterns will change. The patterns started long ago, have built up on top of the self now. They have underlying patterns that still cause actions. Today you call it good, tomorrow you call it bad. But the pattern is always the same, building on itself in the matrix. Exactly.
And it's like if we start to call one thing good and one thing bad, then we start to notice we put them in the box. Sometimes I put that thing in the good box and sometimes in the bad box, and it's the same thing. Starts to fit in and causes all kind of
Again,
confusion.
in the notion of good and evil, tell me what you think, guys. If we go with the Tao Te King of Lao, in the Taoism, the notion of good and evil is in another level. You don't check a box one side and the other. You go with the I Ching. I'm sure all of you seen that symbol where you have a circle with a dark and a white side, and you have a white circle in the dark side and a dark circle in the white side, which means evil contain good and good contain evil. And it's a circular reality where people have to understand that sometimes when some people are trying to do good, they're actually doing bad, and vice versa. It's all about the notion
You
of
know what's
the
crazy?
hell.
You know one
The
thing
hell
about
is
that?
paid.
You probably never
Right.
paid attention to. One thing about that is if you look at the dark one and you look at the light one, right? The light one has a black eye and the dark one has a light eye.
That's exactly what I just said.
That's what's
It's called
crazy.
yin. It's called
That's
yin
exactly
yang.
what I just
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
Yin yang.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The
Hey,
yin yang.
what's a simple thing that we all say over the years? People say is in every cloud there's a silver lining.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
I will be get by.
Yeah, that's that. Hey, I didn't notice that for a minute though, and then I started looking at the fish one, and I'm like, why is it like that? Like, why do you see the fish going in the circle, but why that one got that color eye and that one got that color eye?
Like when you go into shop at Safeway, you notice it's not just an S anymore.
It's a paradox.
Like FedEx is an arrow. It's a paradox.
It's a paradox.
It's like Mahashiva. It's the ultimate mirror.
The ultimate mirror. The ultimate mirror. And
I was looking at my shadow, bro. I just like walked into my room yesterday and I was like in a fucking Spielberg, and I just thought of like the ultimate self, and I looked at the wall. My shadow is smiling. I know it was just a shadow. I could see the smile on his face.
Yeah, he said you make the cloud into the dragon or the goddess, but it always has been the cloud. That's what's
The cloud of
that is
unknowing.
crazy. Cause it's like everything is the cloud, and you shape it into the form you want it to be. That's the one thing that I started to notice. I said, why life will change into whatever form you want it to be, and you can believe this shit to be crystal meth, and it'll be that for you. Life will be whatever you need
I
it to
thought this was
be.
weed,
Any
true.
Yeah, it's
individual.
true. But if you don't acknowledge the other side of the spectrum, it will come for you. Like I said, that's where see so many people, and I've done this. I used to go, yeah, I've mastered it. Oh, I'm in the positive, and I'm just when. And I'd say to my mate, I'd say, when is the success going to fall off? Because I feel that it probably will. And eventually, I felt the shadow in my life. Like I literally felt it. And it was if you keep doing that and you don't sacrifice, that's the key. You got to sacrifice to keep that shadow from getting you. If you just live a happy life all your time, it'll get you. This is what I'm trying to
But
say.
that's
Too
the
many people
But
but
that's an
but
opportunity
don't you
to
think
grow.
that
Too.
got to
like
do
don't you
both.
think like through it all, like whether it's good or bad, like if things is going bad,
It's
just
just a
because you
play.
stay
You've just got to
happy,
keep the balance. You got to
like
keep the balance.
yeah,
That's the
like if you
key point.
and once you get that balance, nothing can knock
Yes.
you off that balance. Nothing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so to get the balance is to understand how to keep the balance of the energy, which is to do with your we're talking about say manifesting and things like
And
that. Like if like in other words, if you manifest good all the time, and I've done this, if you manifest success and goodness and you think, yeah, I'm fucking winning, eventually the cloud's gonna come for you. It comes for
I
everybody.
know, but
There's
if
no
you
one.
think about that though,
Mm,
when the cloud come, you're not
mm.
gonna look at that cloud as being bad, cause
Yeah, well,
I'm
you can
because
feel it coming.
cause
Correct.
cause it's
Yeah.
like kind of weird, right?
Yeah, but
Like
it's never nice. Yeah, but it's see the key is this, it's never nice. It's like
so.
people would say a midlife crisis, right? Which is really an initiatory thing. Like people go through, it's been said before, we go through many deaths and be reborn in our life. And
Cause
so the death that's coming's the cloud. And it's
yeah,
never
but
nice because if you pretend that oh you're gonna get through it without any pain and fear,
so
you're
so
kidding yourself.
what if you are the cloud? What
Right.
if you're the
Well,
cloud and
yeah,
you
but
If
just
now
we're
you've
never
got
falling
the
into a pit,
you
yeah,
never
but now
falling
hang
into
on.
a pit
recognized
doesn't hurt
you
Yeah, but
you
that's
you
the problem.
you never recognized that you were the cloud.
Yeah, but that's identifying with the God force. Now you're going to die. You don't do that. It
That's the
doesn't work.
whole
It's
thing about look.
right.
When you think
You
about
can't
that,
do it.
right? You're gonna die. Who's not gonna
Yeah.
die? Name one person on this planet that's not
Well,
gonna
how long
die.
do you want to live? Yeah, but that's like, how long do you want to live?
if you're
If
falling
I
into the
if I
void, the
like
falling doesn't hurt you. It's
I
only if you land on something.
yeah, because you
Yeah, but
go
how
like
long do you want to live?
who's scared of death?
No, but
Like
that's not the point. The point
death
is,
is just
no,
the
Not
death.
me.
that's not the
When you
point.
look at
The point
death,
is,
death is
how
just
long do you want
nothing
to live?
but the reflection of life. Life is nothing
Yeah,
but
but
the
how long do you
reflection
want to
of
live?
death.
That's true, but how long do you want to live? As long as you can?
Everybody does
It's
that.
like,
That's my
it's like,
point. So to live as long as you can and get the most out of it, you got to get those balances. Now, when the shadow comes, I totally agree with you. When the shadow comes, I had this last time. When the shadow comes, I knew it was coming. It was still going to teach me, right? I was ready for it to come. I was going to embrace the shadow, right? Go through the dark night of the soul, they call it, right? And so
Yeah.
it was still hellish. Like okay, doing it consciously. This is what I found. To do it consciously, I couldn't fucking move. I was stuck in the tomb of the womb, they call it. I couldn't move. I had to let go. The whole of my life can put me in a tomb. And no shit, this is how I experienced it. The only thing I could do is let go. And then once I let go, eventually you start to come out again. And part of the chrysalis, they call it a chrysalis in the tomb. I don't know if you guys have had this. When you're in the tomb, if you ask for the knowledge of what to do, because it's frightening, you're alienated, you get the information. You actually get the information.
So
And this taught me what I know now. And now I can
so
come out
just
of the tomb.
think about what you just
Fucking
said. Now
yep.
take
yeah,
it back to what you just said. That means you already
yeah,
always had the information. You just didn't know how to utilize it.
yeah.
Correct. Yes. Correct.
So the
Yeah, it's a
information was
teaching.
always there.
Yes, I believe so. Yes, I think you're right.
It was there.
Yeah.
That's how come
But
when
I wasn't conscious.
it
I wasn't conscious.
didn't come time for you to use it till it was time for you to use it.
Correct.
Now,
I think you're 100% right.
once you got it, it opened
Yes.
you up.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that these clouds that come, they have the eye of good in it, right? So, but it doesn't mean, the point I'm trying to make is, if you think that this, I don't know if you guys have had this, you probably will. If this happens, you're still going to feel pain and fear. That's my point.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're not going to go through it. You're not going to go through it.
Okay.
If you
Have you ever walked? Have you ever walked and stubbed your toe?
Of course. Yeah.
You know how fucking painful that is?
Yeah.
Now, did you cry about it or did you laugh about it? Because you're going, what the fuck? Like, how did I even bump into that and do that?
Yeah.
You had the choice to make that a good experience or a bad experience.
Correct.
That was your choice. Now, you can go, well, and be mad about it. And what is that going to do? That's going to cause chaos within your life. Because now, you know, it's going to, you know,
exactly.
You're going to be
Yeah,
mad
you'll make
about
it worse.
everything. Yeah, exactly.
You actually make it worse. Yeah, so the point being, what I learned from it is that when the shadow side comes, you know, the repressed shall return, as I said. And this is well documented with heaps of people going through crises in their life. This is not based on trivia. This is based on empirical evidence of studying people. So the point is that we all have it. Some call it a midlife crisis as an exponential part. But we have many deaths through life. You know, you get a divorce, you have a car accident, you lose a leg, or you injure yourself. You know, your whole life changes. The point is that these things come in just like that movie, as I said before, the you know, where the evil comes for them, the death.
Final Destination.
Final Destination. Yeah. So Final Destination is telling you that these forces will come. Because why? Because you're connected to them.
Okay.
You're connected to these forces.
Now, can you say this, right? Is it anything new that ain't been happening to people?
Nothing new. No, it's been happening
Nothing
since
new.
we know.
Since we know. It's been going on since time began.
That's it. You got it.
So
Only
either
now
way,
but now we're in infancy because we don't have the Magi elders to help people get through dark nights of the soul. They usually either suicide or die. Hey, we don't get taught about this in school. Most priests don't know. So
like
we're in an
it's
infancy.
weird because I think everybody knows. Everybody knows, but the way that everybody goes about it is their own way. And you can't go, okay, you wrong for looking at it like that. None of us can say that. Because the way that you built, the way you look at life is the way you look at life. Like that's something you got to deal with. I don't have to deal with the way, like if you believe in demons and you scared demons going to come and attack you, I don't have to deal with that. You have to deal with that. Like if you get what I'm saying, that's a fight you going through. Now, if I don't have that fight no more, I can go, dang, okay, that's crazy because I had that fight. I fought that already. I fought that for a long time. And once I got rid of it and I said, okay, damn, I'm happy now. Like I already know, I'm not saying bad things don't happen. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I know how to look at them now. I know how to not let them get me down and take over my life and make me fall out of who I am just because, okay, somebody stole all my money or somebody stole my car or I wasn't able to pay rent. I can't let all that. That's some shit that's been happening time and time again. I'm not the first and I'm not going to be the last that it's going to happen to.
Correct. And as you guys were saying before, that say like if someone does rob your house or your house burns down, you don't have insurance. At first, you're going to go tomb of the worm because you had the loss.
Yeah.
You're going to go into katabasis, right? Now, eventually, when you come out of the chrysalis again, you'll have a whole new life. You actually needed to get rid of that stuff.
Exactly.
So I agree. Yeah.
I'm going to be laughing because I'm going to be like, damn, I did that to somebody when I was young. No.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is kind of how I see it. But my point being is that if people think they're going to dodge that bullet of the cloud coming, you're kidding yourself. It's going to come.
The cloud is always there. That's
always
the thing. It's always, the cloud is always there. It's just how you deal with it. You don't have to look at the cloud as being something bad, like UL was saying, you fucking shape the cloud the way you want it to. Now you can shape it into something bad, but then when you do that, that's what you're gonna see. That's
That
gonna
would be
like,
your own
Sounds dangerous.
yeah,
creation.
yes,
And the second thing I would add, two key elements for a more balanced existence. I would say first, have a sense of humor. Be able
yeah,
to not take yourself, do not take yourself seriously, I say to people, but take seriously what you do. Big
yeah,
difference. And
yes,
second,
yeah,
second, take death as an advisor. So if you die tomorrow, how you would live today, take that as a key point. Death as an advisor combined with a sense of humor and self deprecation level. Because the key point when you meet someone, as soon as I see that someone have no sense of humor, I say, yeah, that will be a very challenging conversation.
yeah. I always think about everything. I think like, especially like once I get like into thinking about death, I laugh at death now because I go, why would I be scared of death? Like I'm 50 years old, bro. I know people that have died in every age, from 6 months old to 70. It's like that's the last thing I would be afraid of right now. Like if it came, we're all like 100 years from now, everybody that's right here right now is not gonna be here. It's gonna be a
well, the
whole
good
new
news
life.
Well, the good news is your voice doesn't sound like a 50 years old at all.
Oh yeah, I'm 50. I'm just saying, like 100 years from now, it's gonna be a whole new world. 100 years after that, it's gonna be another new world, and the world is gonna keep doing that. It's been doing that. That's what it does. Nobody is going to come along. No, I don't. It's not one person that's going to come in this life and change what life is doing. Life is the ants going to always be attacking, taking over colonies, taking over other things. This thing is going to keep going until it
Well,
ends itself.
no, but the key point is life is nor good or bad.
Yeah.
Life is. We
Yeah.
are part of life,
Yes.
aka our existence is part of it, and what we do with our existence has nothing to do with the intentional level of life. It's all about our choices that we make, cause and effect. And we need to, what is the key sentence of every philosopher in our existence? Know thyself.
Self. Exactly. Because once you see yourself, that's when you begin to see everything else.
Yeah,
Once you see
see through,
yourself.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that once you're able to achieve, and again, I have no pretension that I've mastered that craft of seeing through myself in absolute, but it's helped me to see through other people because I am not in my own way in my interactions. I can see patterns, I can see the way that people move physically and their way that they construct their sentences. I can see where it may go or where it may not go. And that's how, instead of going like with the internal dialogue, that's the trap. Because if we you meet someone and you go into internal dialogue, oh, he looks like this, she looks like that, he blah 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 blah. No, the blah blah blah, you have to shut it down and just be directly connected to the interaction of a person that you just met, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and absorb the information in a greater way than through the judgmental way.
Yeah. Yeah. And first, in order to do that, you got to stay. Like you said, when you said know thyself, you got to stop judging yourself first in order to stop judging
Yeah,
everybody and everything else. Once you start to stop judging yourself based on your own ideas, that's when you begin to accept everybody else's ideas and go, oh, okay, I can understand why you look at it like that. Like I don't have to, because I feel like every idea that's out there, it's almost like like a person that has a gang of shit in their house that like becomes a hoarder. Like you can hoard your mind of a gang of shit also, and it'll be a gang of stuff that you really don't even need. But you'll
Yeah,
take it and you'll accept it and you'll put it inside your house, which your house is your mind, even though your
exactly.
mind don't need it, and you'll hold on to it. And well, UL said something. He said people aren't scared of death; they're scared of their belief. Every step they take is next to what they call death. Yeah, because people are scared to let go of their ideas and their beliefs. That's the one thing that we are scared to do because we hold on to them. We make them like
And,
because we
and
make them
why?
us.
And why is because people were programmed to hold on to them,
Yeah,
and that's the key. And your home, when you enter your physical home, it is the reflection of your mental mindset, basically
yeah.
your mindset. So that is always revealing if there's chaos or order in someone's state of mind when they invite you in their own home.
And
And
it's
then
crazy
there's
because
another
it's
layer.
all chaos, bro. It's fucking crazy. Life is chaos. It's chaotic, but it's a
No,
beautiful
remember,
chaos.
remember, in each chaos, there will be a birth of a new order and
Yeah,
another chaos and then another order.
yeah.
It's a continuous process.
It keeps breaking itself down and rebuilding itself over and
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
over and over
It's
and
like
over again.
ourselves.
yeah.
It's
Look
like
at look at
ourselves. It's like our
yeah.
body,
Exactly,
ourselves. Right
exactly.
now, when we're speaking, we're dying and rebirth. There's a rebirth of
Mm.
ourselves at the same time at this moment in our own bodies. This is the reflection, like the emerald tablets of Hermes. What exists in the macro universe exists in the micro universe. Basically,
Yes.
that's the representation of it. The extensive chaos, new order, chaos, new order. It's happening right now in our body, even
Yeah.
if we're not even aware. Imagine the
Right.
magic of the curative aspect of our biology. All the
Yes.
dead cells that are dying are replaced by new
Being
ones.
reborn. Yeah. See, so
Exactly.
that's exactly it. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
here's another way of saying it. You can't have words without the spaces between words. You can't have music without the silence between the notes.
Yeah,
Exactly. Or else
Right?
it's
exactly.
So,
chaos.
right. So
Yeah.
so this is the key here, guys. Everything in your conscious ego mind, and I'm just talking basics here, is a play of opposites. I'm not saying good or bad, whatever. It is, right? You can see it. We can all agree on it because we all can observe it. So
Bluegrass.
so the point I'm trying to get to is here, me being a truth seeker, me
Yeah.
being me being a truth seeker, is to understand what's really going on here to the point of how can we as humans maximize our potential, beyond Anthony Robbins and all that stuff. That's behaviorism. I'm talking about at a spiritual level. So what
Yeah.
I
That's what
study,
we doing.
right? What I study is not really the ego mind because a lot of people do that. I'm studying what we call the archetypal collective self, or objective psyche is another way of calling it. Um, uh, there's many
I
words we
th-
can call it, but the bottom line is, if you study the mind, you'll see that our minds as individuals span out to be what they call suprapersonal. Suprapersonal means beyond the
I'll
personal.
take
So our minds individually have a connection to a
forever.
collective mind. Amazing, eh?
Yes,
And
yeah,
so,
I think it
yeah,
is the collective mind. And I think it's
yeah,
all going to that same direction, even though we don't see it like that. But
right,
it has to play every part. It can't just
yes,
play one part of
yeah,
reality and go, okay, this is the part everything's gonna
mm,
play. No, it got to play every part,
yeah.
even
And
the parts we
there
don't
is
like.
obvious, yeah, there's obviously an agenda. If we get into the symbols of the archetypal myth, see, when you get into the unconscious mind, we talk about myth. A lot of people don't know that, but myth believe it or not, in the what we call the depth psychology, myth is psychology, right, of the human. That's why we have the same symbols for thousands of years, because it repeats. It keeps going over and over, like you said. History keeps repeating.
Yeah,
And so on top of it,
but you know,
I got
you want me to tell you? I'm gonna tell you why it's not gonna change, right? Okay, as history repeats, there's new people on the planet. The new people don't look at it as that way. To every person that is born into reality, they are looking at reality as something new. They're not looking at it as being something old. Each thing that comes into life, whether it's a person, whether it's an animal or whatever, it's looking at it through different eyes. It's looking at the same fucking place through different eyes.
right. Yeah, well,
So
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, we didn't have the internet and computers anywhere in history I can find. Not like this.
no,
Um,
we
you know what
didn't,
I mean?
but back
No.
then we didn't need them. We was able to remember
Yeah.
everything. We didn't even
We,
have
but
Google
yeah,
Maps or none
exactly.
of
And
that shit.
we had different technology, like the pyramids and all the far out
Yeah.
stuff they found.
Before
So
remember
yeah,
before books,
exactly.
you could read
Yeah,
you would know the whole fucking emerald tablets in your mind, and
yeah.
you'll be able to recite them to us all right
True.
now. Each the Tai Dao Jing, whichever book was out there, you'll
Yeah.
be able to straight recite it to us in
Yes.
words, word for word
Yes.
for us right now.
Yes. So another truth is what's quite shocking is that most people in different areas of study of academia, in a lot of areas, and I agree, is that we are actually devolving as a species. So in other words, our spiritual potential, which is the best part of us, has been reduced. And I think we see
But
that,
what do
right?
you think?
We
What do
live in
you
an
think?
atheistic society.
What's not spirit though?
What's not spirit?
Yeah.
Matter. It's not spirit. But then again,
no.
if you get into that, there's you talking about the sacred and the profane. And the sacred and the profane actually goes into matter as well. So it's a very deep topic that
I be feeling like
Well,
everything
if you
is spirit.
go,
Wait, what was
if
you
you
gonna say?
go,
Go ahead.
if you go into academia, to follow up on what you said, Cliff, the there was a time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the way I understand it. Universities, as an example, were supposed to be based on search again,
Yeah.
and at the same time, independent thinkers, free thinkers, not related to the system. So at that time, it was to acquire knowledge with independence from the authorities to a certain extent. Now, now, since the last decades, it is completely integrated with the full schooling system of conditioning the minds for the
of course.
needs of the system.
Oh, what's up?
So that's
Yes.
another level. Unfortunately, the academia lost their path, which at the
Yes.
beginning in the Socratic method was about the search of knowledge,
Yeah,
truth.
but hang on. Even back then in Greece, with the academia of Plato and Socrates and all the greats, they were what's called today the intelligentsia, right? Which is
Yeah,
which
I know.
is
Yeah,
an
yeah,
inter
indeed.
yeah. So
Yeah.
therefore they weren't public, right?
Someone
So the
walking on.
public the other thing you'll
I
find when
see
you
you.
look at history of humanity is that all through history the majority of humans were dumbed down. They were quite peaking in the end of the 1800s, after the Enlightenment era, and they had to make people smarter. That's why you go and read a book in early 1900s of mathematics and algebra and technical knowledge. It was quite high because they had to build the technological society of the Industrial Revolution. See, so they had to make people smart to build the new.
It's
See?
kind of
So this
it's
time,
kind of
but, he-
wild,
but
right? Because
it is.
nowadays, like you don't like to know something. I don't have to go to you and talk to you and go, well, do you know about this?
Yeah,
I can type it into
exactly.
this motherfucking
Type it
computer
in.
and I can see it
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, but
Now,
if you don't trip over key people in your synchronistic life, you won't see it. So the adage there goes, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
I
Like
know,
I didn't
but
find what I knew through someone forcing me to do it. I tripped
but
over the truth and
but
led my nose.
but I'm saying, like, that's with anything. Like, when the student
It
is
is.
ready, the teacher is there. That's with
It sure
anything.
is.
When I needed
Exactly.
to change my brakes and I seen they was trying to charge me 300, and I went on here, my teacher was YouTube, and I was able to do it
Nice.
myself within 30
Yeah.
minutes. So
Technically,
so
we should be smarter, but because all the information's on a plate, the people don't want it. They're not reading the
oh,
books.
they
They're
but
not.
that's
Hey,
the
most
thing. They
people aren't.
don't. But
Yeah.
but when you think about it, right? When you really think
Yeah.
about it, people are
Yes.
learning that all of it is bullshit.
Well, I wouldn't say that, man. There's a
I
lot of good knowledge out there that's
I'm
very worth learning.
I'm not saying that, but to them it's bullshit. To you it's
To them, it's
something.
bullshit.
To
Yeah, yeah,
you,
yeah. Well,
to you it's
why?
something.
Why is
So
that?
so
Well,
okay, all the knowledge. Okay, because I was talking to somebody that was deep in religion, and I was telling them about the Tai Dao Jing, and I'm telling them about all these different books, and they like, I don't need nothing but the Bible. I don't need all that shit. To me, it was something, but to them, it was like bullshit. I can't get mad at that. I can just go, oh shit, all right,
oh, of
maybe
course.
it
Yeah, yeah. Well,
is.
I can't. Yeah, there's no point in me trying to force a horse to drink
It's
water.
like,
Hey, there's no point. But the point is that I can hint to people that are interested. That's all I do. I
yeah,
used to when I woke up to some truths, I'd run around screaming off the rooftops
but
because not only is their ignorance going to affect me,
but
that's the main thing, right? Their ignorance of what's happening in the world is going to
remember
affect me.
remember what I was talking about? How many people didn't
Sucks.
live this life? Don't you think the
Yep.
Christians is doing the same thing? Don't you think the Muslims is doing the same thing? Don't you think every religion and every person that's out there
Yeah.
thinking they're teaching somebody is doing the same exact
Yeah.
thing that we think we
Yeah.
doing right now?
No.
They just got a different message. And we as people has not learned
Yeah,
to
but you'll
listen
find.
to every message and go, all these messages make
Yeah,
sense.
but what? Yeah, but hang on. What you'll find is that the collective hive minds of the collective religions of people, you'll find that most of them, and go and test and see if I'm telling fibs. If you go and test them, you'll find that they don't know anything about anything they do. Like an example would be that if some churchy comes knocking on my door, all I need to say to them is, "Are you from the church?" And they say, "Yeah, we are." And then I say, "Do you know what the word church means and where it comes from?" And they won't know what the fuck to do because they don't even know.
No, they
They're
don't. They
using
just
words that they don't even know.
they don't. And the crazy thing about it is it's okay for them.
It's like, for
It's
them, yeah.
okay
Well,
because
that is
you
the
know.
purpose. That is the purpose, is to keep the followers as much as possible ignorant like sheeps.
Yeah.
That's it.
You be like, well,
And
what
they're
you gonna do about this? They be like, I'm gonna just, what you gonna do about your rent? I know it can't. I'm gonna just pray about it.
exactly. So
And
basically,
sometimes it works for them.
oh yeah, and to keep the people in ignorance. Ignorance is a bliss, and apathy is a
Underworld
bliss
shifter.
for any establishment that want to control a level of population, of course.
Well, that
Yeah,
might be relevant for their life experience. Like
yeah.
Booker was saying, like everything's true to that person. So unless you're privy to some information or you look at the information within you or somebody, happens to give you that information, you're not going to simply know about it. Like
Yeah, but
Russian or
Yeah, but
yeah, but they
Japanese
don't
or
care.
I mean,
They ain't, man.
I
I'm
mean,
telling you,
I
I
mean,
didn't, I didn't, I didn't talk to some diehard Christians. They don't care about that information. The information they have is good enough for them.
right.
And I like, to me, it sounds crazy, but I'm like going, we kind of need people like that. Okay,
Yeah,
your
probably.
information to where your information is good enough for you, and it makes me feel more comfortable with what I'm doing because I'm like going, dang, okay, maybe I'm doing too much.
Yeah, but when you find out what's really going on, and it sounds like you don't, unfortunately, but when you find out what's going on really, you'll probably want to scream at the fucking from the rooftops. You know what I mean?
exactly.
We're in
No,
a very
no,
the human race is in a serious precarious position right now. Not
How
many people
how
give a
wait,
fuck.
how many of the human race have you eaten dinner with? How many of the human race have you actually seen on a television tube? it's probably less than 1%, right? So judging every single buddy is probably a generalization.
I
Well,
don't
of
think.
course. No, hang on. Of course, it's a generalization, but that's not my point. My point is that very few people can handle the truth. That's my point.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. See, now that's where that I said that to somebody, and they said, "Well, this is my truth right here. Your truth is just not the same as mine." And I'm like, how can I argue with that? Okay, you have your truth, and your truth that you have is telling you, don't listen to my truth. And my truth that I have is telling me, don't listen to your truth. What the fuck is going on?
The difference is that people that can back up what they say with facts of empirical evidence is the truth. Most people go around talking shit they know nothing about and have no evidence for. I prove what I'm talking about, so there's a difference.
Okay. No, you know what's the difference? Is the fact that you feel, now I'm not saying you don't know what you're talking about. You feel you know what you're talking about, and they feel like they know what they talking about. That's the difference. Like, there's really not a difference. It's just the fact that they're still not going to listen to you.
That's not, well,
it's like they're going to hear you.
That's true. But they're not going to have evidence. They don't care. See, now, apathy
they don't care about evidence.
Yeah,
their evidence going to come from that Bible.
Yeah, apathy comes into the picture, right? So I know it's and hey, I am not saying I've got the whole truth. I don't think any human ever does. Like the quote says, always deal with the person that's looking for truth. Never trust the one who has found it. So I agree. I'll never have the truth. But what I do have evidence for is absolutely shocking.
Hey, I think we all have the truth. That's the scary part, because once you say it's true to you, you're gonna see it work in your way. Like okay, like we can talk about like certain things. I hate to get into like even the Jesus thing, because we can see all the evidence that proves that Jesus is not Jesus and all these different things, but that doesn't matter to people.
So basically, I will just add something about that. What is above everyone's truth? We need to distinguish the fundamental element, which is what is the difference between truth and reality? Because truth is based on our perception of reality, but reality is existing without our perception of it.
So, I get that. Okay, I get that.
No, okay. But if I go deeper, a critical difference between both truth and reality is reality exists independently to our understanding of it. Okay. But truth is fully dependent on experiences and observation and empirical evidence that people can take from reality. But again, to know how to use knowledge is to have wisdom in the end.
And I can understand that, like, coming from us, right? But like I said, when I look at things nowadays, I don't try to just look at it from my eyes, because I know people right now that like fucking heroin is gonna be their truth.
But again, our truth, quote unquote, is influenced by our perception of it. And our perception of it is full of biases if we don't do the proper work. So that's why I'm saying reality is existing.
But don't you think your truth is going to fortify itself in your mind in the way that you need it to be?
Well, again, I'm aware, quote unquote, my truth is not the reality fully. And most people should understand that reality is above us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, you make sense.
yeah. What you're saying is that we create our reality with a bias of our perception of what we believe, and I think you're right there. But there is evidence that it's like saying when people say, if this happened to you, you know, something bad happened to you, oh, it's entirely your fault. But that's not true. There's no evidence for that. You know, there's just no evidence all through history. So there is an element of that you can attract certain things, but it's not conclusive that it just is straight flat out like you're saying. You know what I mean? So you have a good point in that truth is dynamic. We could say that, right? I totally agree with that. Truth is dynamic because, you know, physicists say that, you know, it's physical matter is a wave in some ways, right? So it can
Yeah.
transform and all that. So I agree with that, but right. So I'm not discounting that either. But the point is that on a physical level, what we see every day, right, and with our conditioning of what we believe in our culture, which is the system itself. In fact, the culture is the matrix, by the way. The culture that you live in with all your little, you know, and propaganda is the whole system. Like, you know, the computer didn't appear by chance, you know, and all that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
I
So,
think
there's some truths, you know,
yeah,
but
no, I'm
I
not
get what you're saying.
saying that it ain't some truths, but I think it's one underlying truth that I don't think anybody can see. Because truth is gonna
Yes,
always be what the individual decides it to be for them. And they're
yes,
gonna run with it. And like if once they
yes,
accept it and they put the stamp on it, their mind is
yes,
only gonna see it that way. It's not gonna be able to see it from that person's
yes,
way or that person's way. They're only going to be able to
yes,
see it from their own individual way.
yeah,
And it's kind of, you know, it's kind of trippy. I think that's why we get caught
it is.
up in a lot of our ideas and our beliefs, you know.
Yes,
And we
I totally agree. Yep.
and that's why we, you know, and then what we do is we stand on the backs of the ones that we were told were great.
Yes,
We
yeah, I
stand on the
agree.
backs of them
Yeah.
when they
So,
not even here. They don't need, like think about it, right? If some of the people that we look at or we followed or we took the things they said, if they were here today, they would be fucking confused. Period. Like
yeah,
they
totally.
would be like
Yeah.
thrown off, like what the fuck? Like y'all looking
What the
at
fuck?
people, y'all looking at
Yeah.
people on the screen. Like I never thought I would see some shit like this. And you take
Exactly.
somebody from ancient Egypt
No.
and put them in
Mhm.
today, they would be
He'd be.
fucking confused.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
They would think
Yeah.
this was a whole nother
Yeah.
world. They'll be like, no,
Yeah.
bro, y'all
Yeah.
driving around like we was riding horses. Y'all,
Yeah.
we had chariots. Y'all got, what is that thing called again? A car? What the fuck?
Yes. So, but hey, how's this? So when we talk about ultimate truths, you know, like at
Oh,
a
you well
spiritual
said
level,
it too.
right? Or a conscious level, you know, like we as humans are different consciousness depending on what we do, right, in our life. And so
Yeah.
now talking about the ultimate truths, the archetypal symbols of myth again, it goes all back through history, is the archetype of, say, Moses, who is shielded by God himself to protect Moses from seeing the truth of the real truth of God, right? So to speak. So what that means is that as you become conscious, which is what we believe to be the world spirit, you could call it, is
Oh,
pushing
they go
all
under the
humanity
sign.
to awaken, right? And if humanity doesn't awaken, it'll kill you. This is what they're finding. And
But
so this is to do with the apocalypse archetype too that we're going through.
why is that always like a thing that we use too? Like if this don't happen, then everybody gonna die, or somebody gonna die. Like
Because
everybody
there's
done
rules
died
in the because
already.
there's rule yeah, but there's rules in the universe that it's like if you jump off a cliff, you're gonna certain things are guaranteed to happen, you know. You may not die, but you're gonna hurt yourself.
Have you
So
ever
these are facts.
have you ever had a colony of ants that just raided your house and you just killed off the whole colony?
I guess so, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Why?
like that's
Yeah.
a part of it. Now
Of
that you
course.
didn't look at those ants as doing what they were supposed to do in life, you just said they fucking with my
Oh,
shit, so I'm gonna knock them
yeah,
all off.
yeah.
They ain't coming in
Yeah,
my
they
house
were
no more. Ain't
They
coming
were
in
in
my
my
house.
vicinity, and I made the decision to wipe them out,
To
and
wipe
that's
them
part of
out.
what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get
And so is
roaches, you
that going to
trying to
have a
kill all
karmic
the
effect on me?
roaches.
Yeah. And so is that going to have a karmic effect on me? Probably, because life is life, and it
Yeah,
probably will
life
have an
is
effect.
life.
I don't know what it's going to be, but I mean, going back to the ancient writings of the Druids
Cause
and
I
all that stuff, they treated all nature with reverence and sanctity. So this is what I'm getting into. I'm always learning. I believe you me, I'm still fucking going through books.
yeah, we all
But
are.
but it's fascinating. The point being that these things that we're told about
The
karma
supreme matrix
and
power.
and yeah, all these things, and then
Reality.
even religion has a lot of truth in it, and they represent archetypal truths that are
It's like a
fascinating.
Torah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fascinating. I mean, I've always been
Oh, the
interested
ritual
in
of group fear.
the uh, the supra self, the idea that a human can lift the veil, so to speak, of the dual
But you
consciousness,
don't. I think that's
right?
the part that
Yeah,
like we talk about, but nobody wants. You don't want to lift the veil, because when
you
you
got to be
lift the
careful.
veil and you actually see what it is,
You could die. You
you're
could
not
die.
going.
You could die.
Death is a reflection of life.
Yeah. Nietzsche, apparently, as an example, Nietzsche went blind for 3 weeks because he got a what they call an encounter with the numinous, right? So when we talk about this whole concept of the
You are.
force
Yeah.
and consciousness, right? When we talk
Yeah.
about that, we're talking about a thing. If you look it up, guys, you'll see it's called the numinous or the numinosity, and it means shock and awe. It means
Yeah,
shock and
that's
awe.
what
Now we,
you
yeah,
well
now we
said
go
in the
back to the
chat.
religion.
Y'all be having to go on YouTube and see the
Yeah.
chat also, because you well
So we,
said you are the veil. So you
yeah,
lifting the veil when you are. But I think that
yeah,
goes over a lot of people's heads. Is once you start seeing that right there. That's
it
why I
is.
was saying you're gonna lift the veil and you're gonna see
Right.
yourself and you're gonna really it's gonna fuck your mind up.
It
You're gonna
freaks you
not
out.
want to
You're
accept it.
dead right. Yeah, it is. They call it the great self.
Get rid of
The
you
great
and
self.
your
The great
beliefs.
self
You don't want
represents
to
gold. There's a whole
let
thing in
go.
that we could talk
Believe
about.
that is death.
But how's
Yeah.
this? But how's this though?
What?
Going back to the blindness that can happen and all that. You're lifting the veil. Um. Uh. Yeah. Yeah. So to do it. So the point is this: to do it as a human safely is to sip gently. To sip gently. And so what I'm finding is that, like, I gave up all booze, all drugs, all that stuff because it's just in the way. When you really start to see what's going on, it just gets in the way. You'll
Well,
get more
what you
spiritual work done away from all that because
what you
you
said earlier with identity, if I'm identifying with this limited body and limited mind,
yes,
then that's what I'm going to have my bias
Yeah, give me out of
against
these
whenever
restaurant
I
fast.
see the truth. And
yes,
so the physical mind has limitations. Uh,
yes,
and
right.
so if you
But it
see
can
that and
grow.
are indicated,
But it
yes,
can grow.
that's what
Exactly.
psychedelic means, right? Like to
Right.
actually have a mind expanding or consciousness
Correct.
expanding experience.
Yeah.
So
So
if
maybe
I'm
if you
identified with my
yes,
body or if I'm identified with my mind, that's going to cause me that fear because the physical mind is trying to stay alive. It's built for survival, right? Pattern
yes,
recognition.
yeah,
Put the square peg in the square hole, right?
yes,
But part of this, going back and what you said about chaos, sometimes we want to logically define chaos. We want to logically define all that there is.
yeah,
And we've said it, I've heard it said before in this conversation, all of us is a part of all that is. So there's
yeah,
nothing outside of all there is. And it's going back to what you said about spirit and body being profane. It's like, well, yeah, when we start separating things, we can give hierarchies or systems to anything categorizable, right? Anything we can put a word or a name or a color, to start figuring out what's in the matrix, so to speak.
mhm,
And then by trying to use that knife now to mend things up after you get to a certain point, you're
yeah,
going to start cutting yourself up or you're going to cut other people up. It's like
right,
you can't know Michael Jackson's voice if you dissect him.
True.
Like
Yeah, I agree.
you
Yeah,
need
I
to
mean,
see it as one,
exactly.
and
Yes.
just uh, on animism. So yeah, druids and tribal cultures around the world, and one of the
Shamans.
oldest still surviving uh,
Hmm.
countries or cities, Kashi in
Yep.
India, is
Hmm.
built around this idea that there is no separation between what we call spirit or God and what we call flesh or human. So
Right.
the physical mind not necessarily can perceive that initially until it goes through the experience. So
Yes.
chaos
Agreed.
chaos can be known through experience, but it might
Yes.
not be able to be logically put in a specific fractal box, right? Because
Correct.
if chaos is part of all that is, then at
Yes.
some level it can be known.
Yeah, and I mean, if you already knew that the chaos was coming and could deflect it, it wouldn't be chaos, would it? Because you'd be in order. So, what I'm also saying is that because I've had a few dark nights of the soul, as I imagine a lot of people have here. So I'm trying to learn when they happen too. My last one, I could feel it coming, right? So I didn't know enough to know how to defend myself from it, as we'd all naturally want to do because you don't want to go through the pain. But I was ready to go through the change. I knew change was coming. And so my point being is that, yeah, so when chaos comes, you just got to deal with it because it's going to come. And you just got to
Right.
be, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
That's
there's no,
how
exactly.
that's how logic and experience are kind of diametrically opposed. We,
Yep.
with our systems, with our history, with our matrices and language, we try to put these things in a box, and now these walls that I've put up around me hold me from experiencing love, life, laughter, the things, the wildness, the chaos
Sure.
that's literally outside the wall and inside the wall. But we build this wall on we build this wall and think that we're not either in our mind or around our physical bodies, and think that nature, wildness, chaos cannot enter. So yeah,
Mm,
the other half of discipline is surrender.
correct. Yeah. But
Lots of the martial arts
yes.
use entheogens
Yep.
to kind of
Get
push
order.
beyond. And if you just take
Yes.
entheogens, you'll start noticing, if you surrender, that your body will go into those martial movements and natural energy,
Right.
because there is you could say, an archetype or a design or a
Yes.
template, you could say geometry, for a certain efficient way of going through this life.
Yes.
Um,
Correct.
and
Yeah, that's my
to,
point.
to
Yeah,
speak
that's
on
exactly my point.
and
Exactly.
to
Yep.
speak on death,
Yep. Yep.
um, we don't look at the tree. I mean, the tree has leaves and the leaves die, and we don't say, oh, that's a bad thing. But when we
Exactly.
think about ourselves, we think that, for some reason, we think that this physical body or physical mind is going to live forever. So understanding that there is a part of us, either greater or lesser, you can call it what you want, that cannot be burnt, cannot be drowned, cannot be buried, and start identifying with that, well, then there is no fear of death. There is no fear of what's going to happen, of this and this, this. You're always constantly living now,
Yes.
because if it's 200 years ago, it was now on the clock when they looked at the clock. If it's 200 years, from
Yes.
now, then it's
Yep.
going to be now on the clock.
I
So
got tingles
this,
from you saying that. I ain't gonna lie, because that's
Nice. Yeah. Right on, man. Totally right on. I mean, so it's back to this thing of like, definitely coming from a Jungian point of view, where there's two centers, there's two selves. You got the ego self and you got the great self, basically. The great self is the thing that permeates everything, right? And it's the most powerful, intelligent mind. The ego mind is the conscious mind that keeps learning and keeps developing, if you can imagine that. These are like in
well,
a way they're hmm?
the ego mind is to me, it's kind of like, I heard this said before, it's kind of like goggles that you wear when you're scuba diving or deep sea diving.
Right. Hmm.
It allows you to
Okay.
see in a certain limited area, but it's only built to do a specific thing. So sometimes we
Yes.
ask the ego to do something that it's not capable of, put power in
True.
its hands that it's not built to withstand. And then it's just going to give you all kind of fears, doubts, disbeliefs to try
Yeah.
to keep, fear. It's a great threshold guardian, but it's only
Yes.
doing its job. So there are the parts, intelligence is not just in the brain. Intelligence is spread across the whole body. And so when we incorporate the total function instead of individualizing, dissecting, and use the whole system as it is, because the creation is literally throbbing in each one of us, in each particle, in every single thing. There's not a part where if creation was a one and done type of thing, I wouldn't be able to speak or breathe or eat or have kids or whatever.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, Exile. If this man say call Young one more time and Ego don't pop in here, I'm gonna get pissed off. He don't know
Ego's
Ego.
probably sleeping.
Ego. He's always talking about Carl Young. Always, bro.
Well, man,
Y'all would have the best. This would be the best conversation ever.
yeah, well, it's because, and I mean, I've always been into Carl Jung, and the reason why I got into it seriously is, like I said, I've had encounters with the numinous. I've had experiences that didn't make me blind, but they're enough to shock the hell out of me, right? But the main thing why I like Carl Jung is he's the only legitimate research scientist in the field, right? That understood synchronicity. So I had massive synchronicity in life to the point where I relied on it, and I still do. I live pretty much a synchronistic life.
Yeah.
By doing that, it gets rid of the fear because you can trust on this force, or God, someone call it, to give you the signs and the symbols when you need them. So that's really how I live. But why I got into it seriously is, like I said, and I'm only using generalizations here to make it simple, is that I was feeling very content in where I was, but I still came to a plateau, and this is part of the change, right? And I was getting into another level. It's as simple as that, and we all go through it. And the demons were part of that. I just call it that for simplicity, right? I could go in all kinds of areas with that. But so the point is, I was forced by what I believe the forces of synchronicity to Tomb of the Womb, Dark Night of the Soul, Ego Death again, to be reborn, to now find more teachers that came when I was ready, to now go, oh my God. And it's opened up a whole nother string of people I've never heard of that are right on the money, and they've dedicated their life to these things.
Hey,
So
the
we
demons.
stand on the
Do
we
you
stand
think
on
the
the shoulders
demons?
of giants.
So the demons that you had, like, can you explain one of them?
Well, I think
What's up,
that it
bro?
is connected to our inner demon. I think that our inner demon, uh, or the demonic imbalance called inflation, if you look all through psychologists, the best, go to the best, don't go to the idiots. If you go into that, the whole thing's about what they call inflation. So for the newbies, it's just basically says that, if someone's arrogant and egotistical, they've got an inflated ego. And it's like helium. It's literally like helium. And so when you study that whole thing in itself of what inflation is, of inflated ego and depression and what they call manic depressive, which we all have, you start to get a feel for what they're talking about. So
Yeah.
it leads into a whole area of self energy regulation through the psyche. Now, that does not dismiss that the body is the psyche. All of that's included. Then you open up
So
a whole world of spirituality
so
that you never knew about.
the purple demon, the demon, you
Yeah.
actually made and grew that demon yourself, right?
Correct. Yes, I believe so. And it was through an unconscious understanding. I didn't know. It was
Yeah.
through an unconscious understanding of grandiosity and inflation
But
that because you can't.
do you think that demon at times came in handy?
Yeah, of course. Well, it teaches you. It all teaches you. But the point being is that because I had
He's a good dude.
because I had the shit going on in me, it was manifesting outside myself in a lot of ways that were freaky.
Yeah.
Good and bad too. Good and
Yeah.
bad too. Like there's a thing
Do
that
you,
Edward. I don't. Have you guys?
do
I
you
just want
think
to know.
do you think everything inside yourself manifests outside of you?
I think a hell of a lot of it's reflected outside you. Yes. But it is
That-
not conclusively going to be exclusively that because there's other parts to this. I think no.
Man,
So some of it is not entirely.
why we always what's up, Crow? Crow entered the building, y'all. Joe Crow. Glad to see you. Always everybody
What's
from
up, man?
Canada. Everybody from Canada. I love Canada.
Yeah, almost. No, I was just going to say, no, that's really interesting what he's talking about. But the synchronicity's been crazy for me, man. Like I'll wake up at 3:33 in the morning, 4:4. Then I'll go back to sleep. Then I'll wake up. It'll be 4:44.
Oh,
Then I go back to sleep. I'll wake up. It'll be 5:55.
yeah,
Dude,
I
it's
know,
nuts
man.
all the time.
I
All the
totally
time.
sympathize. Yeah, I know, man. I had 33 for the last fucking 6 months, and here's a freaky one. I had because I was like an anarchist, and I took on the government, and
Oh, wow.
that there was an Anthony because I was doing all kinds of shit, guys. I haven't even told you half of the shit. There was an
Don't tell us all
enantiodromia,
of
which
it. We
means
on YouTube right now, so don't give it all to us.
there's too much to go over. I'd have to do multi-session. But how's this, guys? I had everything shut down at the same time. And later, when I came out of the tomb of the womb, I'm knocking on doors going, "Did you guys have a slow year?" They go, "No." And so it just happened to me. And when that
Yeah.
happened, the fucking clock, we had this old clock, and it started up by itself. And it kept going, dong, dong. And I was going, what the fuck? So there's
Oh,
all these
wow.
strange, and this is how deep it goes. Now, on top of that, when I got attacked by the government, I was privy to the collective unconscious through the people, collectively. It was, I mean, you could say, but you're paranoid. No, it's way deeper than that. Way deeper. I had to go to the bank. I defended myself fucking well, by the way. I came out really good. But the point is that the synchronicities. And so what it works is this: when you get close to what they call the numinous energy, which is all to do with your consciousness and understanding. If you don't understand it, you won't know where to go in your mind. So when you get that, you get close to the numinous, synchronicity increases. So when you get alienated from the sun, the infernal in yourself, when you get alienated from that, the synchronicity will go away, and you'll feel bland, you'll feel alienated, you'll feel almost depressed. See? So you can without drugs, I can summon ecstasy. I'm learning how to do that more.
Yeah,
I'm only scratching the surface here.
remember I was just telling you that once you find
Yeah,
your
mate.
place and your peace,
Find it. Oh man,
that's
and
me
this
right now. Ecstasy
fucking
every
bitch.
day. And it'd be like
Yeah.
you be like, that dark cloud gonna come. That dark
Nice.
cloud that came many a times. And when
Yeah,
it came,
but
I cried.
yeah,
I cried, but it didn't take away my happiness.
well, that's nice, but there's more to the story, I think, personally. But good on you. No, I understand.
No, it's just the fact that
It's nice.
it's almost like getting a flat tire. Like, what do you do
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
get a flat
Yeah.
tire? You don't just stop driving your car because it got a flat tire.
Yes. Yeah.
It's gonna
Hey,
put you
hey,
out of.
guys, guys,
If you
may I
guys
Yeah,
share?
go
haven't,
ahead.
May I share an experience with Red Wing with the numbers? I had that type of dreams a while ago where it was like 4, 4, 4, 4, and then there's a moment which was very interesting because there's a point where when you're dreaming, you're not fully aware that you're dreaming. You're living the moment. But there's a
Yeah.
point where in my alarm clock it was 666, and then my mind went like, what the fuck? That doesn't make sense. And then I realized I was in a dream, and I woke up at that instantly at that moment. And 666 was a very funny moment.
Dang.
And the other part, guys, which I will share with, I studied Carl Gustav Jung as well, and I think that people should not underestimate his work because Carl Gustav Jung has done a very extensive work that is in a large display of understanding the human potentials at a large scales. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Cliff, but basically, you can if I can do what's the word in English? A sum up, a review.
Summary.
Summary.
Summary. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our consciousness, which is the part where we are aware to a certain extent or not, is basically the two key point is persona, projecting who we are to other people. So that is the image that we create. And then ego. Ego is the part which is driving our ambitions. So again, ego, we can have the debate. Ego must not be, we must not be part of it, but ego must be part of us. So basically, that's a question of balance. Second level, personal unconsciousness, which is the notion of the shadow, aka recycle bin. Everything that you don't want to see about yourself and you suppress and get rid of it, that is the shadow self, which one day will come at you if you're not able to explore it, accept it, and understand it. And then you have the collective unconsciousness.
And it's just like you said, though. It's only gonna come at you if you don't understand it.
Exactly, like a slingshot. And then you have to,
if you don't understand it.
I would be careful with that too, because there's always an unconscious. You may expand your consciousness, but there will always be an unconscious because it goes on forever.
Like if you like think about it, like right, you see how the government creates fear, right? Like we just was talking about that. We was talking about how the government and the media they create this fear, right?
I want to finish the idea.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Sorry, guys, but you will see things will get all together. So the shadow is the personal unconsciousness, aka recycle bin. You throw the things that you don't want to see about yourself, and it's not you're not aware of it necessarily. Collective unconsciousness, that is the reference to the anima animus. So basically, the feminine part and the male part in each human beings. We all have that. And then you have the genetic memory. So that is all in the collective unconsciousness. So which is very interesting in the work of Carl Gustav Jung. It's our existence is how to summarize our whole capacity is consciousness, personal unconsciousness, and collective unconsciousness. And when you're able to tie everything together, then you start to understand how great our reality is, and then you can evolve above. So basically, that was the key point. But the shadow self is a very interesting point because
what have you ever thought of what you going above?
Can you repeat that?
What are what are you going above? Above what?
Above my perception of reality with biases. So be able to understand. By the way, does everyone agree with the statement I will do right now? Do you all agree with the fact that biologically our body is a filter in a perception level, which is limited? Limited in the fact that we don't understand the full spectrum of the reality that is surrounding us. Just as an example, a crow eyesight is based on ultraviolet. So the way that the crow sees its own world is completely different to the human way. So is the crow wrong or right, or are we wrong or right? No, we're both right, but we're coexisting in a complex elaboration of reality that is in front.
That's exactly what I was saying earlier.
Perfecto, you see, senor.
Like nothing is wrong or right, but we gonna make it wrong or right for our own perception.
Exactly. And perception, we always have to remember perception is what it is. In an biological interpretation of a reality that is in front of us. No more, no
So,
less.
you know how we talk about the archetypes, right? So were the
Yes.
archetypes already here,
Well, yes.
or did you create
Archetypes.
your own archetypes over time?
Well, first, you have to remember, by definition, archetypes are based on the collective unconsciousness. So if you build your own, it's going to go to your shadow self. So let's come back to the notion of collective unconscious, genetic memories, and the uh, notion of, how should I put it? I'm trying to be a little bit more clear, because basically the anima animus
Yeah, because
is part of it.
everybody here has dove into Carl Jung.
Okay, perfect. So the
So
anima animus,
we
the
all know
anima
about
animus.
Carl Jung.
Okay, so the anima and animus, it's everyone has a feminine part and a masculine part, and the same thing. So men and women have both. And there's a point where uh, the woke people overexploited that with transgenderism. So that is another topic. But
So I'm saying, like, but the archetypes, right? These different
yeah,
archetypes that are here. Let's say they're collective. They were here before we even started using them, right?
yes. Well,
So
basically, archetypes like earlier, Cliff was referring to the red and blue color,
yeah,
which is chaos. But chaos projected by order, the officer, the policeman. That's where I wanted to add that, because basically, yes, there's chaos in the reaction of the person that is
The target.
facing
The
those
target.
colors. It's projected by the representative of the order. Am I
If you
right?
go, yeah, if you go back, it's funny you mentioned the red and the blue. If you go back in history and go and look at all even the Plato, ancient Greece, Rome, and all that, and the pictures of the nobles, they call them nobles, stabbing the dragon, stabbing the snake, stabbing the reptile, and you'll see they're wearing red and blue, even back then. So the colours, see all of the system is Freemasonic too. That's fascinating in itself. The system that we humans live in is under a Freemasonic system, and it's many tiers. It's private at the top, of course. Um, it's a cult. You know, there's different levels of Freemasonry, but everything, and basically you could conclude that civilization itself is Freemasonry, which makes sense. You know, they build civilization. And so, what is civilization? Civilization has always been the control of humans, right? It's
yeah,
the domestication of the wild animal,
yeah,
right? So what's the wild animal? Well, it's the id. It's what Sigmund Freud called the id. So the other thing about Jung, and these guys are very important because they're the top people in our time on the psyche, which is very important. You'll find that it goes into the Kybalion, which is Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus is Mercury, Flash Gordon. These are archetypes of the same thing. Virgo. I'm actually a Virgo, and the Virgo is the Hermes Trismegistus. You know, the Led Zeppelin wizard with the lamp. It's all symbolic.
I am
And so,
Aquarius.
oh, nice, cool. Yeah, I like that.
But
So these archetypes go back as far as humans can go. An example is that if we've all seen these ancient digs that they do with the strange occult um, history, that I think they call it, where you see the circle and the cross. Most people have seen that. You the circle and the cross always. And so what that represents again is the quadrant of the mage, the warrior, the lover, and the king. Which is what is that? All these are archetypal symbols of how the God force interfaces with each human. It doesn't matter of race or culture, right? That's what that represents. So all through Christianity and Judaism and all that, you'll see the cross and the circle. It also represents, funnily enough, archetypally the sun. It represents the four quarters of the seasons of the sun and the 12 and all that. So all of your whole world is a magical system of Freemasonic secret society,
Yo,
magical
everybody.
orders.
What's
It's
up,
amazing.
Eric? Yeah. What's up, Eric?
Yeah, I was just hearing him say, Cliff, about the cross and the circle. See, that's what I'm saying about that cross and the circle. It represents your circle inside of yourself. That circle can get you to that circle, that cross in the circle. Like, okay, hey, True, you know how I was telling you about, when I look in, because in the realm that we live in, there's nothing but portals in this place. And on the map, I know every portal on the map in this realm that we live in just by going through my hand, just going around, like, say for instance, Google Map, right?
Yeah.
I can pinpoint every portal. I probably think that those secret society probably hear me, but I can pinpoint every portal on the map on Google Earth, and I know exactly where they are, because when I put my hands on the map, I mean, not really fully on there, and when I go around, especially the ones in Egypt, those pyramids, when I put my hands on that one, I start to vibrate. That's how I know. But the portal is inside myself, like everybody else has.
Yeah.
And every time I move my hands all the way around the world on the map, that's where the portal is. But that portal is inside myself.
Yes.
Just okay, because but that crossing the circle you were talking about, yeah, that's your portal inside you. That's that circle. Even Dolph talked about that. Dolph talked about that. About that circle and that triangle. That cross and that circle.
And you're right. Yeah, but hang on, quick. You're right. Here's another way of looking at the pyramids, and I'll make it quick. Is that if you look above the pyramid, you'll see four sides. So there it is again, right?
Yeah, and even even beyond that. Oh man, even beyond that ice wall. Hey, even beyond the ice wall too. Even with the water, because I was telling you that one day about summoning seeing mermaid, and I was close to the water, right?
Yeah.
And man, it happened instantly. I started to vibrate because I was summoning a mermaid, and I started to vibrate. But it's like everything is within, though. I mean, man, everything is within. So I'm summoning a mermaid within inside myself because I started to vibrate.
Yeah.
Okay, and I said, okay, now even dolphin. Because everything is based on within.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so much, because like I was telling you guys, when I'm looking into people's eyes, because people's eyes, they got that light inside.
Mm-hmm.
I vibrate to the light inside that people's eye. And what I kind of thought true with everybody else, that you guys, about, death, and because death itself is still light.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that it was crazy. not really crazy.
It's crazy, dude. I know. That's what I mean.
He's
See,
crazy.
these strange topics that we talk about are so deep and so connected and so esoteric and so massive.
It is, yeah, it is
It's mind
because
blowing.
I mean, it gets to the nitty gritty of it because
Mhm.
I kind of thought, oh my gosh,
Mm.
what if you die right now? Not really, because we already did. What
Yeah,
if
yeah. I hear you.
what if we get out of the body?
Yes.
I mean, when we go, but then our consciousness. What if we don't get born? You know how we come out of the female,
Mhm.
but what if we don't have to be born and go inside something else?
Mhm.
Because I mean, and then it's like it happened so fast. Just like when I was kids, even with I can't even call it. Remember, I was saying I can't even call it dreams no more
Yeah.
because I don't really think I'm like, because this is a dream right here. So I mean, I'm saying like this what we in is. I can't really call this a dream because after 12 o'clock midnight, it's still now. After 12 o'clock midnight, it's still now. It's like I can't really call this a dream because when I lay this body down and when my consciousness goes somewhere else and I come back from that other place and I come back to this place and I recall I'm vibrating out of that when I can't come out of that place. Because in that place, I'm vibrating in that place. I come back to here and I can still vibrate here too. So I can't just like what you like true like when you say that you can see your dreams,
Mhm.
you can see your
Yeah.
dreams
Lucid
before you go
dreaming.
to sleep.
Yeah,
I don't really
lucid
call
dreaming.
I can't really call it a dream. It's because this is the same thing.
Yes, this is the same
That's right.
thing.
Yeah, well, I've
You
had
be
lucid dreaming.
confused.
I've had lucid dreaming in the awakened world, and I've had lucid dreaming in the dream world. What that means, and I can piece it to you a bit, those that meditate, I'm sure there's some of us here, those that meditate know that you get born in you consciously a thing called the witness. Some call it the silent witness. And that witness is the being that is, you could say, the third eye that looks at your thoughts, right? So a person that doesn't establish that, they can't see their own thoughts because they're in their thoughts. When you meditate, you start to birth this manifestation of consciousness that can not just look at your thoughts, but it can actually meld into the mind that is beyond the body, the supra self, the great
Yeah.
self, as I'm speaking of. See, this is why I got into this stuff because I was already doing this before I had my womb of the tomb. And I would like go for a motorcycle ride and I could see myself from above. And when that happened, it was just magic. It was fucking magic.
That shit be
Right?
Yeah,
crazy,
by the
bro.
way,
Yeah,
by the
man,
way,
it is.
It'd be crazy.
interesting. Does anyone know the concept of kohan?
No.
Kohan in Japanese culture, Zen Buddhism, is about the what's the word in English? Where you have to fight against a way of thinking, and then you have the counter, and it's called a paradox. Yeah, paradox way of thinking. So I will shoot this paradox thinking at this moment. Are we living in a dream, or are we dreaming about our living?
Both. That's the scary part. I think it's both.
Can
I
you,
think it's
hey, can you
both.
just say that again? I was just typing to someone. Can you just say that again? That was.
Pay attention.
I was just typing. Sorry.
Yes, I will repeat. So, the notion of kohan, paradox in
Yeah,
Japanese culture. Okay, are we living in a dream, or are we dreaming about our living?
Right. Yeah. Well, I'd say both at the
Yeah.
same time
Yeah, I'll
because
say
when. Yeah. I mean, the cool thing is, look, if someone was to learn how to meditate, and what I mean by that is you're basically just clearing your mind. You're learning how to get rid of your thoughts, and some of you guys know you can study how to do that. You know, you can. It takes time. It take you about 6 months before you can master it. Once you do that, you'll become. You'll have the ability to be more present. You can concentrate. You'll have more energy, and all that sort of thing. So it's
That
very good. I mean,
now,
it's worth doing.
and
And
that's
it
what I
helps.
call bliss. When you reach
Yeah.
that blissful state, reality. When you reach
Because
the blissful state that I've been in for the past, I don't know how long. When you reach it, it will try to bring you back. But it's crazy because there's no turning back. Once
yeah,
you
you're
reach it,
absolutely right.
you're not
Yeah,
gonna go back. You can't go
yeah,
back.
but yeah, well,
Hey,
no,
hey,
you can do a
true,
little
true,
bit.
true. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that bliss, isn't it having the effect that you're no more a slave of emotional response at being triggered at all level?
Nah,
Yeah, that's.
you're gonna be triggered at times. That's part
I'd,
of
I'd
it.
I'd put it like this: when you awaken the witness, you know, I meditated for years and years and years. I even tried all these different other things I haven't even told you about. And what it boils down to is this: when you crack it open, there's no going back, right? But you can get like contaminated by the chaotic world of the duality. You can get contaminated. You can get all psycho again. Um, but there was something that you just said, Blade, as well, that was I was sort of leading into. Um, I'm getting a bit tired.
Oh,
It's kind
hey,
of weird, bro. I'm telling you, it's kind of weird, right? It's a
It
weird
is.
feeling because
Mm.
you get to the point to where you're not trying to stop what's happening because what's
Oh,
happening
absolutely.
is happening, and you only
Yeah.
have control over how you feel about what is happening.
Mm.
You
Oh, that's
can't.
right. You
You're
reminded
not.
me.
Yeah, you're not controlling what is happening because what's happening is happening. It's not
Yeah,
gonna
it's happening.
stop.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You're not going to change that. You're not going to change what's happening is happening. Back to what you were saying before. Now, with regards to being triggered when you awaken the great self, so to speak, right, is this. When someone fires an arrow of narcissism at you in multiple forms, instead of it shocking you to the bone of you going and getting upset and emotional, you'll feel it, but it'll just be a ripple. It'll just be like a poof, and that's it.
Exactly,
It's gone.
and
You know
it's
what I mean? So
gone.
there you go.
So
So you
so
certainly don't lose feeling.
that's what I was saying about the demons. So even when the demons come, you gonna see them, and you go like we got a
Mm.
saying here. Everybody say, "I see you, Shiva. I
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah.
you."
Exactly. Yes.
I will not go in details.
What do you
I,
perceive as already
I,
happening? You
no, you will see
trying to project.
where I'm going at.
Oh no, I'm saying in the chat, because y'all ain't watching the YouTube chat. But UL said
Okay,
what he
got
said.
it, got it.
He said what do you perceive as already happened, and you're trying to project what will happen, and you just get caught up in the game of your belief.
Oh, interesting. What I was going to say is basically I went through different PTSD moments where I witnessed killing in my past. So each time someone asked me, "Oh yeah, do you believe in the devil?" I always say, each time I saw an evil face, it had a human face.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you start to recognize.
Yeah, and again,
I'd like. Oh,
and again, that's the key point. Each time I saw evil behavior, it always expressed itself to a human behavior.
What about when you sing good stuff?
Same thing.
All right then. See?
Same thing.
That's
So the
the
key point
paradox.
is humans need to take full responsibility of their own actions, and therefore the ones that are falling out into very what's the word nefast uh, in a very destructive path, they have to take
nefarious.
possibly of
Nefarious.
nefarious. Yeah, thank you.
Nefarious.
Oh, you heard it.
I,
Merci. Thank you, my friend. nefarious path, they will fall in that level. And the ones that are focused on helping others, they will go in that path. But the key point is each human beings need to focus and ideally in a idealistic way follow
But
the path
do you
of
think?
know
Do you
thyself,
think?
know yourself.
Do
Yeah,
you
go
think
ahead.
that if it wasn't good and evil, the good wouldn't recognize itself?
Well, just to give you an idea, I'm not a religious guy, so basically I use evil and demons because my
That's what we call them.
grandfather was in the Second World War,
Yeah.
and each time he was absolutely not a religious guy, but each time I ask him question about his military past, he said to me that past has too much inner demons that I need to process before sharing anything that I could share with you, so you would not be in a bias dynamic. So
Yeah.
he used the word inner demon, not in a religious way. So that is the that is the key point.
No, no,
Is
yeah, I understand the words that we use that we put on it, but I was just saying like one has to have the other in order to complement each other. Like
which is
one,
interesting. Yeah,
like
which is
it's
interesting.
the
In
yin
French,
yang.
yeah, exactly, the I Ching.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, I will end. Sorry to interrupt you,
No, go
but
ahead.
there's
No,
just
go ahead.
the word demon in English, which is the same in French. If you reverse the mon and d in French, démon, it becomes monde. So
Yeah.
the world, basically, in French, if you switch the prefix and the suffix from demon to monde, it becomes the world. But yeah, you have to be a French speaker to fully appreciate the expression of it.
It's kind of I don't
Monde.
know. It's you know the way we look at things. Like I don't know. I love it. I love the way that we perceive everything that's going on, our perception, and y'all like Carl Jung. One of the other dudes. What's that other guy name? Ram Doss.
Oh, Ram Dass. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Ram Dass.
that he was another
But
good
he's
one.
not a but he's not a psychologist. See, that's the
He don't.
difference. I'm talking about
I
psychologists.
and I understand that he's not, but he is. He's
Yeah,
probably
I get
not
what
the
you're saying. Yeah,
psychologist that
yeah,
you want him to be, but
I get you.
in the fact he
I get you.
is. Like
Yeah,
you,
there's an interface. There's an interface with psychology and spirituality, inevitable. Because what is spirit? It's the mind.
yes, and
Simple as
that
that.
makes everything spirit. That's why I said the world is nothing but a reflection of your mind. It
Yeah,
cannot be nothing more than that
yeah, yeah.
because we
And you'll
perceive it.
find you find that if you study major foundations of who we are, and what we do in civilization. Like if you study law, you're going to come across similar things. If you study music, you're going to come across similar things. If you study psychology, you're going to come across certain things. So these things reflect each other. You know what I mean? Like you'll see religion in everything. You'll
And
see,
yeah,
you know what I mean? You'll get crossover and bleed through with all these different subjects.
because like when
And
you
I
really
mean,
when you think about it, all of it is speaking on like it don't matter really what it is. It's all just speaking on us.
yeah. Yes. And if you know something or if you've got a good foundation of knowledge, you'll understand more things of what's valuable and what isn't. You can discard rubbish. You can go,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's just oh,
and that, I think
you
that's
know what
right there. Like
I
I
mean?
always say this, right? Like it's these baboon hunters in the Amazon. And and they ask them, okay, what's the that the purpose? What's the purpose in life? What is it? and they was like baboons, meat,
Mm.
hunting meat. So it's like it's kind of weird when you look at it and go, okay, these people can live in the brush. They don't have computers or nothing like that, and they can just hunt baboons like for centuries. And like us, we don't look at, we go, what the fuck? Like, no, you got to learn this, and this.
Yep.
Yeah, and you'll find that the people in nature have a different type of intelligence.
So do you think we making it more complicated than what it is?
I think a lot of the time we do, yeah.
And that is based on a luxury of existence.
The luxury of existence, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the
Because
Western world is pretty.
if I may finish, Cliff, the full spectrum of what I'm just saying is basically the luxury of existence is to take for granted that you're safe. So it's like the city girls, the city guys in a certain period where they're going like, let's go to have a drink and let's go. And then there's a terrorist attack. Holy shit, full of blood. Oh, my dress is pulled out. My as a guy, my shirt is full of blood. And then they try to understand what the hell happened. And I always go with the full notion of the warrior. So for me, the warrior is not all about war. It's about conquering yourself. And at the end, is the ultimate moment for a warrior is to be able to achieve inner silence before a duel.
Yeah,
and this moment,
you made me think about the one where the people, they went out, they had that little event, and they had like I don't know, was the singer, they had the baseball players and all type of people in there, and the roof caved in and shit. Did you see that?
No, I did not. But just let me finish, because English is not my first language.
But we understand you though.
Yeah, I don't want to lose the flow.
All right, keep going, keep going then. Just keep going.
Mucho gracias. Thank you very much. So basically, I wrote that in my own server in martial arts section. So basically, what is deeply rooted in my spirit is basically the ultimate moment for a warrior is to achieve inner silence. So no inner dialogue before a duel, as an example. This moment is the decisive element before the moment of victory of defeat. If victory is the path, the warrior must savor every second of his breath. The notion of do not take life for granted. And then walk toward his destiny with death as an advisor, while assimilating all of his past victories, subconsciously erasing his past, so not to be a prisoner of any patterns that would be an obstacle of his own evolution.
Yeah, exactly. Now that right there hit home right there. You feel me? Constantly going forward. Because I think the only thing that really always ever mattered was right now. Just right now.
Yep.
Everything then happened for right now to happen.
Hey, true. When you say forward, is that like, I mean, like, okay, you remember how you went in and then you seen some screens? I mean, when you say forward, is that like moving forward or just being in that now?
Just being in that now.
Being in that now, and it just like say for instance, like when you're watching TV, that's basically that now when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Like when like when you're
Present
like,
moment. Present
yeah.
moment.
And it's
It-
hard
it-
to
it-
it's
Well,
hard to
for
be in
me-
the present.
Well, for me, watching TV, it's watching the idiot bucks.
I ain't gonna lie,
Yeah,
bro.
And that's
after
not really. It's not really a good example because when you're watching a TV, you probably are thinking of other things, you know. So
it's kind of
not-
like
not
I
the
used
same.
to I used to feel like I had got to the point to where I felt like that also. Like, okay, watching the TV was the idiot box, but you don't even have to watch TV to see the idiot box. Life is the idiot box. You see idiots all the time. So watching TV, when you're watching TV, it's just showing you how people are and what people do.
Springer.
So
Springer.
like I had got so deep into consciousness and all this thing that I stepped I almost felt like I was trying to make life just this one beautiful thing over here and not see everything else that was happening. And like now I stopped watching most of that and start watching a lot of bullshit in order to go, goddamn way, okay, both of them are the same. It's no different. You can trap yourself in whichever part of this life you want to trap yourself into. It doesn't matter whether it's something, but you're going to always make whatever it is good to you, because people that's watching the idiots on TV, they ain't idiots to them. They just is to us because we're looking from over here from what we're doing and going, oh, that is different. And it's like, really, it's not different. It's not like we can make it that, you feel me? It's just almost like I was saying about the building blocks. Like the building blocks is the same blocks. Just because we painted them a different color don't make it any different. It's still the same. They're working with the same blocks we got.
Yeah, and the other aspect that is very important. I'm sorry, I cut you off, Cliff, but don't worry, I will finish rapidly. I bring up the notion of death as an advisor, but at the same time, each time I wake up, I work on the notion of gratitude of what I'm living into right now, because I think that is the key point. Gratitude to be with my wife, gratitude of having my house, gratitude of having the balance that I have right now, because I do not take it for granted that it will last. Not because of my relationship with my wife, because of our authoritarian government that was re-elected in Canada again. Unfortunately, minority, but still, I do not take for granted that that peaceful way of life will continue, but I do not take for granted that I will have to go in a full war against the government. That is one day at a time process.
So think about this though, right? What if death was the savior? Because death is the only thing that's going to free you from your ideas and your own thoughts that you fighting with yourself, that you are creating. Everything that you built up over time, when death comes, is going to free you from all that shit you built up in yourself and everybody else.
I will go ahead. You were going to say, Red Wing? I didn't want to interrupt you.
I don't know what he was saying.
Red Wing, go ahead.
He's somewhere loud right now. He'll pop back in. He'll pop in when he's not somewhere loud.
Oh, okay.
He said, Carl Jung said, the system of Moses, Jesus, Carl Jung.
I do my best.
Before you have to realize that you are the wizard as well. Yeah, he said, okay, UL on YouTube, UL said, we get caught up in the belief systems around the spirit, religion, and ancestors instead of actually understanding what these things are to us. The systems of Moses, Jesus, Carl Jung, and any wizard before you, you have to realize that you are a wizard as well.
Well, to be a wizard, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm saying UL got that right on the dot right there. I know exactly what he means because I feel it.
Yeah, but when you think about it, right? You are the wizard because you saying, okay,
Exactly.
Carl, because you're the one that's saying, okay, Carl Young is this. You're the one saying, oh, this over here is this. Like nobody's like saying it for you or have to say it for you. You projecting these things and saying, oh, this is it right here. You're pointing it out, even though it's there, but we point it out and we make it our own and go, okay, yeah, that's just what I needed in order to make this thing right here work for me.
There's
So
another
evil
thing.
for me.
Hang on,
Oh,
hang on,
oh,
hang on, hang on.
And
Hang
I'm
yeah.
on,
not
hang on.
saying it isn't.
There's another thing that's important. There's another thing that's important that I've found in my studies that is not being appreciated. When
What?
people use words, most people don't even know what the words mean. So
Yeah.
there's a thing that you can do that's called revelation through words. Like where you actually go and look up what the words mean, then you can get the path.
Yeah,
If you
you go
cursory
look
say a
it up.
word and you don't know what it means, you're just not going to know what it means.
Yeah,
No,
you actually go look
etymology.
up the word and then you do the
Yeah,
etymology. You do the etymology on the word and you find out what even how the word even got like devil or demons. When you go do the etymology on it, it's not what we call it today.
it's
But
like
we're
it's
not gonna get into that though.
like,
Since we're
no,
talking
no,
etymology and talking about looking up words.
no. But just a very interesting word is diable. I don't know what is the actual
Diablo?
diable
Yeah.
means in French division. It
Oh.
doesn't mean evil. It means division, to devise. So basically, when somebody says a diabolical, well, it doesn't mean it's evil, but the intent of the division is evil in itself. So diabolos, yes, to divide. So basically, it's always to understand words where they're coming from, and basically, to come back to Cliff uh, moment of expressing himself on the now the word is escaping me. Can you
Well,
Which
you
one?
mean with the words that see? Here's I'll go even deeper for you guys by reading, by continuing your education, by looking up what words mean, and really, like in other words, when you study something, you do it, especially if it's deep, by paragraph. And if there's a word in there you don't know, look it up. And if it's deep,
exactly? Okay.
hang on. And if it's deep, digest the damn thing. Now, when you do that, it creates a new neuro pathway in your mind. Because whenever you get an aha moment, the plastic mind, right, with its neuro pathways, you create new ones. So
Yeah.
this is growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called neuroplasticity. Yeah.
But
Indeed.
Yeah.
that's why when I say like I don't believe in demons or I don't believe in devil, I think people don't understand it because when you go look up the word and you do the etymology on it, you're gonna find out that over time it turned into what it is today. It's not what it is. It
But
never
again,
has
but
been.
again, again, my friend, I'm not a religious guy. I hear you. But at the same time, we always need to understand from whom is those words are coming from. Like I said, my grandfather was not a religious guy, but he was referring to inner demons after the Second World War as a general, as he was for the French army in that moment. But he was referring to inner demons, but he was not religious. So again, the notion of the words sometimes need to be explored according to the context of the person that is sharing their experience and using those words. Would you agree?
No, no doubt about that. And when he's talking about his inner demons, he's talking about shit that he probably did that he don't want to tell you about.
Shit that he had to do
That's gonna yeah, he had
under
to do that's gonna make you go, wow, you did why the fuck would you do that? Like you did that?
but my grandfather was not a sheep, so that's why he had to get away from that system. But
Yeah.
that's another story.
Yeah, like cause okay, like well, a lot of us got grandparents or whatever that were in military or whatever, or we don't, like, even taking it further than that and just having like uncles that then did some terrible shit over time. That like what I have uncles that did some terrible shit, like, and I don't need to talk about it, but I'm just saying they had their own demons, and that's what we label them as. But now think about that though. Your grandfather's demons, they weren't evil spirits that were taking over his brain. No, they were some things that he fucking did that he knew, he didn't like, but he had to do.
Exactly. Exactly. He had no choice under the
Exactly.
circumstances that he went through, but still he had to struggle. But yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah, but they weren't these evil spirits that come into your mind and make you do this. No,
No,
it
no,
was
no,
other people
no.
saying, "Hey, man, go out there and kill them other people because they trying to kill us." And then he had to go out there and do it, and he didn't like
No.
it because,
Exactly. He was not summoned by Lucifer.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. But I think that's part of the game that we play because you like, and like, we're grown now. Once you get older, you start seeing, like, can't nobody just come and tell you and get you to do some shit that you ain't supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So
The key point is to keep in mind that everything in everyone's existence is always related to a context. The context is everything, isn't it?
yeah, because it's all in, like we said in the beginning, like, it's an underlying thing that's going on. Like, I feel like it's just explaining humanity and the shit that we do, but we can. I think what's name said it earlier. Nobody wants to take responsibility for their own actions.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
what it is. Us as people, we don't want to take responsibility for our own wrongs, so therefore we can put it on the devil. We can put it on demons. But
Yeah,
really, it was the
external
person that
forces.
did the shit.
And that would be external forces. So therefore, you're a slave. But the day that you take responsibility of your own actions, it is part of the process of freedom of being.
Yeah, freeing yourself, because now you going, shit. I ain't
Yeah,
letting. Oh, go
there's
ahead.
even there's even a saying that because I studied freedom for a long time. That was another part of spirituality is being free. Where the quote, you can look it up. I don't know who said it. Is, with great freedom comes great responsibility,
Spider
and
Man said that. Spider Man Grandpa said
and with great power.
Yeah,
And then the other thing,
you're a hero.
with
Yeah,
freedom,
yeah.
the other thing with freedom, with the association again, is power. Because if you have freedom, you have power. Is it right? So
yeah.
power comes great responsibility. So there's all kinds of things that come into the ideas that we think about. So what I mean by that is that to the man in the street, you could say, "Well, are you free?" And he'd go, "I'm free." And then when you get to know him, you'll find out he's not free, but he thought he was. But then if he was to talk to someone that had studied freedom for 10 years or more, decade, and tried to live it, there'd be a total different understanding of what freedom is.
But that's
Yeah, and
but that's
in
a
the end,
yeah.
in the end,
I kind of feel like you create your own freedom.
You
So
create your
even
own
well,
freedom.
yeah, you
at the
create your own freedom. So free
You
to
do.
you, it won't be the same as it is to that homeless dude that's
Yeah.
living out there saying he's free. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be.
but
But if
You'll
you were to
go,
measure it, you'd find out that you would have freedom if you've done the work. You'd have more freedom overall.
and what would freedom actually be?
The freedom to be unimpeded on your path, in my opinion. Freedom
Huh?
to be
well,
unimpeded on your
go
path.
ahead. Go ahead. Sorry,
Because
bad timing on my part. Go
yeah,
ahead, Cliff.
because
Like,
breaking.
the path is the ecstasy, the pull, the love of the path. Now, I don't want any obstruction really from unnecessary stupidity, even though it could be a guide. So therefore, if I learn the way of freedom, I can relax my mind more. I'm no longer going to be upset. And I find this to be true. I mean, I had to, on my path, study narcissism because I found out that you think about it. If you're free and you become powerful, you become successful. And if you become successful, especially in a lot of the Western countries, you'll be hated. That's just part of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that. I had to learn that, right? And so therefore I had to study that to get more freedom.
But it's
Because every
crazy
time I
because
come up
even
against that,
even when you think about success,
mm,
what is success?
your success is not just material when I say it. It is spiritual, physical, mental, material, uh, even to some extent relational success. But if you're going to, so in other words, what I'm saying relational is you're going to meet beautiful, good people that are really nice people and that are more, developed spiritually. And then you're going to meet people that are less connected spiritually, and they're the ones that are going to get jealous
Have you
and
ever
evil.
met somebody that was totally evil, but they was real open to you?
Um, I'd have to think about that. The most evil person in that. I think that the most evil people I have brushed with are the most covert because
Hey,
when you study, hang on, when you study evil, you'll find that evil always shields itself because if evil exposes itself, it's now exposed. So you'll find that pattern every. Okay, what were you
I,
saying?
Yeah, go ahead,
I
Eric.
want to I want to say something about power.
What about the etymology
Uh,
of
Hmm.
words?
about
Forgive me.
power that I
Forgive me.
I
For such
I
a
have
mercy.
experienced. But the power that I experience is when I'm sitting down and I say this saying, and when I say it, power comes to me, but that power is within inside myself. Feel it because I vibrate with it. But when I say it, I go to the pinnacle of it. I'm still sitting down, but I feel it in this burst of light within inside myself. But at the same time, while I'm sitting, all is looking at me. All is looking at me, and I'm vibrating. But but when that vibration, for example, when that vibration comes down, I'm going through levels, coming back down to my my own frequency. Each and every level I'm coming down. Well, when I get to that third or fourth level, that power that I have, it dissipates. It's still there, but it dissipates because I said that saying, and it goes down and down. But at the same time, that light is bright within inside myself. That power I cannot feel anymore because the levels of vibration that I'm going down back to my own frequency. The power is there, but it's like, how can I explain this? Because I have done this a few times already. And when I ask it, do I have the power right now? And it shakes my head, yes. And as that vibratory rate goes slipping down, I from the third or fourth frequency that I'm on, and I ask it again, do I still have the power? It shakes my head, no.
So, like, as if
So
the power comes and goes or something.
Yeah,
no,
it does.
it's not. No,
Will.
it's like a pinnacle point. It's there,
Yeah. Yep.
but
That's right.
it's there, but it's like
Hmm.
based on frequency with inside yourself.
Hmm. Yep.
So as I'm going down with that frequency, that power has it. I'm not from this. It laughed, but it's still there. I think I can probably say a higher self of myself or something that I reached that level. So when I reach that level from that third frequency that I was on, I'm dropping down
Hmm.
until I get back to my own frequency. Because when I say that saying, I'm there really quick where that power is.
Yeah.
I'm there so fast that when I'm there, I vibrate. Let me see. Do I? No. I don't vibrate. Oh, okay. Here you go, guys. I don't vibrate. I don't vibrate. But I actually do. I have the power? Yes. But then guess what? I'm to that pinnacle point, and then guess what? I start to vibrate. I'm leaving that pinnacle point, and then I'm going. It's like I'm using this as an example. I'm going down, but I'm vibrating as I'm going back down to my own frequency. So after that frequency where that is, it stops, and I'm still vibrating, and it goes back down. It goes down until I'm reaching these. It's like these levels of it, but I'm going back down to my own frequency.
Yeah, a more level frequency.
Yeah. So when I do that, but at the same time, it's like everything's looking at me. And it says, yes, everything is staring, looking at me. Everything is looking at you. But not in not a bad way, but everything is seeing me.
He said
It's
not in the bad way though.
Not in bad, but it's like everything is looking at me until I get to a point where the other frequency is, and nothing can't look. And I actually, is everything looking at me? It shakes my head no, because the frequency of it. So each and every frequency, I'm dropping down to myself again.
So are you as it's looking at you? Or are you looking at it?
It's looking at all. It's like it's looking at me, but it's like everything is looking at me. Everything that there is, everything.
You know what that remind me of? It remind me of like when you dive in on psychedelics and you kind of become one with everything.
I think that's exactly what it is.
It's like you become one with everything, and there's no separation, and you just go like how? Like that's like how? Wait, hold on. It's like almost when you come back, you start back to create the separation all over again, and you create the separation.
Hey, true. You know what though about this though? You know how I tell you guys that I have this thing with inside myself about the spinning of the vortices that I can do now, the cycles that I can do now. Because at the time when I do that, I don't cycle anymore. I'm with inside myself, I'm not in a loop no more. Until I get down to a certain frequency, I'm back into the loop when I get into a certain frequency, and then my head starts to move again. That's something else. Because that loop.
What do you mean your head? What do you mean your head's moving again? What does that mean?
That when I say my head is moving, it's like what you guys call it, like the cycles, or what you guys call it, the torus field, something like that. I have this ability to do this now. About the yin and the yang, the right side represents the space time. The left side represents time space. And I've been taught by what's all this stuff that's within inside myself. Even with the mushrooms, I can even touch a picture of the mushroom, and I'm instantly in tune with it. With the mushroom, I mean a picture, because it's just us. It's just within inside us, inside of us, inside of all things.
Yeah, it's like a certain meditation that he has that's
Yeah, and just for the record, guys, I've done mushrooms, I've done LSD, I've done ecstasy, I've done
DMT.
Yeah, like hash and all that sort of thing. So I've done a few drugs.
No, plant medicines.
or whatever. Yeah. So whatever you want to call it. But anyway, so I've done all that, so I can appreciate when you talk about these things because I've had experiences that way too, and I've got nothing against drugs and even alcohol. But my point being is that where I'm at personally, I've given it all up. I don't need it anymore. That's all I'm saying. I've got nothing against it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like that, and then once but whenever I go back, it's something new.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's a trippy thing because, like, I had dove in so much that like I got to a certain point, and like I feel like like I don't like it ain't that I need it anymore. It's just like some people like to play baseball. And sometimes I just like to dive in. I like to go and I like to step outside of myself because I understand to myself that I created this understanding that I have. And sometimes I like to be able to step outside of that thing that I made myself over time. And when I can do that, like that's just such a beautiful thing to me. And like you can do it through meditation. You can do it through many different ways. But I think psychedelics is a fundamental way to get there. It just is.
True. And another thing I noticed, even when I say some different words, like say for like the light thing I'm talking about, it's like when I say that, especially at nighttime, I kind of understand this too, that at night when I open my eyes, when I'm filled with that light that's inside myself, I start to vibrate at night, but that light is inside myself.
Yeah.
Big time. I mean, I vibrate so. Huh?
Where else would the light be?
Exactly.
It's within us all. And like that's the one thing that I'll be saying, like it's all within us all. It's just for us to go in and see it and find it and bring it out. Because it's always been there. It's never been outside of you. But that's where we always tend to look, outside of ourselves. But what's the name said it best, like you find yourself and then you'll see it. But I gotta go, y'all. I'm tripping. I gotta go to work in the morning. I'm just sitting up here on YouTube, chopping it up. We was having such of a good conversation.
Hey, true. How's that bus driving doing?
You're going to work after this? That's crazy, man.
Nah, I'm gonna get some rest, bro. I'm gonna get some rest before, like, I ain't gotta be at work until 2, but I'm like I want to at least have 10 hours before I gotta go to work. So it's like, I think I ain't got that much, but yeah.
Well, hey, my friend, thank you for that opportunity, for that type of conversation that we just had.
No, we're gonna keep this. We do this all the time. It's just I've been working a lot, and I'm trying to get back on schedule to where we can keep doing these lives and we can keep having these talks, because like we go live on YouTube every time I come in. We be live on YouTube, so y'all need to peep out the channel. So, like when we're talking, you can actually see the chat, and like people be answering and sending us stuff in the chat, and I'll be trying to read it as we talking, but. If you subscribe to the channel, like when we live, you'll see the people talking in the chat also.
Nice.
Hey, basically, you can DM me your info of your YouTube channel.
It's right here. Like if you go to general, every time we go live, somebody posts the live in the general.
Okay. That will be
Master Creator, yeah. So in the general, you'll see it in the general, like, and it'll take you to the channel.
But hey, Kampai, thank you for the opportunity for that type of conversation.
Yeah, and then you can also go there and you can, see all the, because a lot of people, like you said, like a lot of people, I know I sound young and different things of that nature, but yeah, I'm 50. You feel me?
And by the way, how old do you think I am?
43.
I'm 57.
Oh God dang, we all old up in here.
I'm an ancient one.
We all old up in here.
50
but
fucking 7 years.
it's wild because if you actually go to the channel, like you can get caught up on, like you can actually go see a lot of the DMT mushroom experiences and all the psychedelic dives I took that got me thinking the way that I think. Instead of just thinking that, because you're gonna go, like if you go, you're gonna see, like we done talked about Carl Jung, we done talked about every philosopher that you can think of.
Yep.
There's like we've been doing this for 6-7 years now.
Perfect.
So when you talked about Carl Jung, did you talk about the archetypal stuff?
Yes, that's why when you heard me keep saying I wish Ego was here, because his name, our other friend Ego, that's all he talk about is Carl Jung and the archetypes. That's what got me into the archetypes. That's what made me start seeing that a lot of archetypes that we create ourselves that we don't understand that we do as we go.
That's correct. Yep. Nice. Cool.
And we didn't get deep into it, but next time we'll go deeper.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, and the other thing is, I never stop studying. I'm forever going to be doing this, so
yeah.
Going to have no.
And that's what I was saying. Like that's why I never stopped diving in on psychedelics. Because it's constantly showing me these things. Like, I didn't, like a lot of us here, we done dove in and we done seen a lot. We done seen a lot. And you start getting to the point to where, if I go and listen to Carl Jung now, Carl Jung will be saying a lot of stuff I said over time. If I like, and I don't like, I used to dive in on listening to everybody, like, from Carl Jung to the Terrence McKenna's to, like I said, what's the Ram Doss and my favorite, I keep on forgetting his name. Even the Isley dude, there's so many different people I can go on and on. But after a while, I stopped kind of like listening because they were already saying what I was saying. What I already was thinking, what I already, felt about a lot of things. So it was like, I didn't have to keep training myself because I'm already in that state. So and that's one thing that I felt. I said, damn, if I got to keep studying for the rest of my life, what the fuck am I really learning?
Yeah, but what I've found is I agree with what you're saying, and I've had similar experiences. But what I've found is that eventually I plateaued in my understanding, which means that I came to a dead end, and then I had a breakthrough, and I found more people that are higher level again. So there are people out there that are very high level. That are beyond,
but this is the thing, right?
Mm.
This is the thing that I learned over time is right. Like, everybody is high level. Like whether we want to believe that or not, because I talk to some of everybody throughout the day, and you can learn something from a baby. So it's like everybody is really there, but nobody wants to, be like, okay, we all are already there, because we all are already there. But that's the one thing that
be ongoing. It's always going to be ongoing.
Yeah, so this is the one way that you can see it, right? You know how I know everybody knows that they're already there? Because what is everybody doing? Exactly what the fuck they want to be doing. Every person on the planet is doing exactly what they want to do.
Sure.
Because everybody is already there. It's just they want to do what we don't like to do. And we do what they don't like to do. But our like to do is just different than theirs. But doing what they doing, they think they doing what they think they doing what is right. We think we doing what is right. Everybody think they doing what is right.
I don't really care what's right. All I'm seeking is truth. So I don't know. Is that right?
And
is
that's
that right?
now look, think about it though. You saying you seeking truth.
Yeah.
Like think how it's an infinite amount of truth.
That's right.
The truth is infinite.
That's right.
Okay, like say if he went over there and he shot that person, he truly shot him.
That's true.
Like we don't have to debate on, you know, that truth right there. Like on a lot of things that are happening or that didn't happen, we don't have to debate. That's truth right there.
That's true.
So it's like, you know, I started to, you know, I think that's one thing that I started to learn over time is like, okay, dang, we begin to, like I said, we make the different levels. Like there's nothing out there creating the levels. It's us going, oh, you
Yeah,
got to reach
that's
this
right.
level to reach this level to reach this level. This is us saying this. But in actuality, you really don't. You can hunt baboons for the rest of your life, and life is still going to do the same thing for you that it's doing for the people that's just hunting baboons. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yep.
but
I
I've
mean,
got a
I'm
different
coming back.
I've got a
I'm coming
different
back.
view on I've got a different view on studying. That's all. I mean, I've
No,
got
no,
my own.
I get it. I get it. I get it. And that's what the vegans say about being vegan.
That's right.
Oh,
They
by the
got a
way,
different view
say
on
something
being
about
vegan.
that. I have
And
to
it's
say
okay.
something
It's
about that.
okay.
Right. You
Hey,
got
hey,
it.
hey,
I'm
my
okay
friend,
with it.
I have to say something about that. So let's expose the hypocrisy of the vegan, because I am a carnivore. So let's have fun.
Hey, I've got to go, guys. But
I got.
see you
Why?
Hey,
later. Good
no,
to
you
meet
got to
No,
come back though, because like when we have these talks, like I said, like I like when we all get in here and we do this, because people look at it your way, people look at it my way, people look at it all these different ways. So when we throwing out all these things, people are taking that in and they're
Yeah.
using it and they're learning from it.
That's it.
no,
So
but
so
at the end, let's have fun. Let's have fun at the end.
nah, yeah, we gonna always have fun. You see, I laugh at
Yeah.
everything we talk about, bro. I'm
So,
gonna laugh. I'm gonna
I'm
joke.
trying to express the idea as a carnivore. How many times I saw vegan people trying to reproduce a imagery of meat in their diet, which is full of fillers, artificial stuff, and they go like, "Yeah, we're vegan." Why do you try to reproduce? When I say you, I'm not.
I know. I
I'm
know.
just saying. So as a carnivore, well, why do you try to reproduce the taste and the image of meat if you're a vegan? Because you can have it the real way as a carnivore or ketovore.
Yeah, and then you gotta take all them vitamins and stuff, and you know do all other
Oh
kind of
yeah,
stuff
all that
outside.
bullshit. Yeah,
But
you
okay,
have to go with
but
supplements.
you gotta understand, man. To each its own. To each its own. And if the you know, but I think we build the ladder of our own existence, each individual. And we go, okay, yeah, this is better than that. And it's like, bro, they've been doing it. We've been doing this forever, okay? And we're gonna do it until somebody come and turn the lights out in this motherfucker. We're gonna
Cliff.
constantly do it.
Cliff, you remember my meme? And you said, yeah, they all do it, but they're hiding.
But I gotta,
No,
I gotta go,
said
y'all.
they
I gotta
didn't.
go, or I'm gonna keep talking.
Yeah.
I gotta get some
Hey,
rest.
Good to
I
meet you.
really
Hey,
enjoyed our conversation and enjoy your day, my friend.
Yeah, but we'll be back to cause I get off at 10 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Cause
Oh yeah,
tomorrow,
I'm looking.
what was your name again?
It's True Life Stories on YouTube. It's right here. You in my thing, True
No, I
Life
mean
Stories.
like, yeah, but that's not your name. Like, my name
Oh.
is Cliff. What do I call you?
Oh, my name is Booker, but everybody
good
just
idea.
call me True.
Oh, Truth. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
True, like TRUE.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to
Nice
meet
to
y'all
meet
too,
you.
man. Y'all had
Hey,
me in here
Booker,
for like.
Booker, because you shared your first name. My name is Michel, as a typical Frenchman. Michel.
Michelle. Yeah. Y'all had me on this live for like 3 hours, man. God, look, more than that. We've been on YouTube for a long time right now. I wasn't supposed to be here this long. Okay?
Well, take care, my friend Booker.
No
And,
doubt, no doubt. Yeah, if y'all be around, we gonna do this again tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, same bat channel, same bat time. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, because we've been
I
on. How long we been on right now? We've been on YouTube for damn. It
won't-
had to be like 3 hours or something like that. Yeah, it's been
Well,
a. It's yeah. Golly, I'm trying to see. I know
well,
we've been on for like yeah, some hours. Yeah, it's been a couple of dang. Okay, we've been on YouTube for like 3 hours, bro.
oh, perfect. Well, everyone, good night, good day, according to your time zones, everyone.
Yeah,
Cheers.
no doubt. All right, peace out. Peace out.
Peace out.
All right, peace out, YouTube. Yeah, I see y'all tomorrow, man. Today, later today.